And because of that, we'll go straight up. Okay, well, so ACEND is banning Fracture. Not a surprise, you know. FPX bans Icebox, which is very surprising because that was the map that I feel like ACEND was very uncomfortable on.
I think that they got a different feel. What I'm actually looking at is that the two teams have decided to start on the defense every single time that they've had the chance, and there was a reason for this. I did my my things before we came in this weekend. I counted all the maps. I went into all the maps that the teams that started on the defense. Both ACEND and FUNPLUS Phoenix, every single time that they have started on the defense, they have won the map. So that is the reason for maybe picking that side. Bind on the side of ACEND. After what happened last week, actually, I don't see them as comfortable as they used to be. Of course, they brought in the changes, but maybe they knew what FPX showed and thought that, you know, maybe there's some weakness to playing Cypher here.
Well, before we get into Agent Select, I want your predictions in just a moment. But first, we asked for yours as well on Twitter. Let's find out who you've gone for. Oh, it's a clear victory here. It's not really a surprise. FPX are a tremendous team on an incredible run at the moment. 60.4% going for FPX. Lothar, no surprises there.
Yeah, it's a big, humongous difference. But Titanic, Whopper. Yeah. Not surprising, I would say, but it's also so different from what I've seen like a year ago when teams wanted to avoid playing Bind against ACEND, right? And now we see teams pick Bind.
It's not only that, we started off seeing a lot of Fracture, and last week we didn't see a single Fracture, and it looks like this week, and they're like, no, please, no more Fracture. But as we jump onto Agent Select, it's going to be interesting because FPX was playing with a solo Brim Smoker. Let's see if Angel is going to keep that on the side of ACEND. Okay, never mind. Thank you, Angel, for breaking my entire speech. They're going to keep the Cypher, but maybe they realized that the Breamy was not enough.
And for me, the biggest change is here, like as for ACEND, we have seen CNED on Sage almost exclusively before on Bind. Now he's swapping to that chamber, and that's not a surprise to me because he's one of the most, let's say, vital gears in the team when it comes to performance, and putting him on an agent that doesn't really help himself a lot is a bit detrimental to the value of the superstar who CNED is, right? So on the chamber, he has more ability to make it work like he was like efficient on Jet before, and he can't be now. That is a big, actually, I think that has a huge impact, humongous impact, Titanic even, a Whopper, on ACEND's performance right here.
And I love that word. It's going to be extremely interesting also to see if Angel is going to deliver one of his, lurker plays, especially now that he's decided to go for the Omen.
All right, let's get stuck into this one, shall we? FPX versus ACEND on Bind. Two absolute legends calling the action on this one. Some call them Mitch and Tom. I call them Tom and Mitch because Tom's nicer to me. Guys, take it away.
All right, well, I guess I'm gonna buy this man some dinner. This is wow, wasn't expecting that one. Tom, I guess I'll let you take it away.
Oh, thank you very much, Ian and the desk. Wonderful. Honestly, it's nice to be appreciated, and I'm really excited to take this one away. So let's get into who's going to be playing today.
Back on into the action in a moment. We've seen the players that are about to tussle it out here on the server. I mean, how are you feeling coming into this matchup? We've spoken very highly of FPX, and ACEND have had their good games and their bad games. What are you expecting to see today?
Honestly, it's a weird one because I think we always talk about how like seeding in most cases makes a huge difference. I think for both of these squads, no matter what happens, they're either going to have to obviously go through the team in the other group, which will likely be Liquid or Mech, and you're kind of like, pick your poison. Like if either team has a great day, it's hard to play them. They haven't been playing that great recently. They're both in almost identical boat. So I don't think they're going to think too much about those opponents. Then you're sort of choosing between, would I rather play Fnatic or Guild? I think right now most people are playing Guild, or what would rather play Guild, but I don't think anybody's going to be tactically choosing where they go. So I think this is actually a great opportunity for both teams to test some stuff. Like, see if they've got any spicy ideas that they wouldn't normally run in an official. I'm looking at you, FPX, because you are the masters of that, and maybe that'll come down the line, because that was something that Doom Bros mentioned to me yesterday, is that they do plan to test some stuff here. So I think it could be a fun match. I think it'd be an intriguing match, but I am going to be curious who comes out on top and if we can take a massive amount away from that game.
Yeah, I think most players are going to look at this situation and realize it doesn't really matter whether you're playing against second or third in the other group, because a lot of the time you don't even know who that's going to be. So
It's the next game. So unless they have some sort of mind reading capabilities to work out whether or not you're going to get good mech or good liquid or both or neither, that's going to be fairly difficult. I think that's the hardest prediction of the entire event, is which of these teams is actually going to play well in the afternoon. So yeah, there's nothing they can do. All they can do is try and win the game, and then they'll play, well, maybe they'll play Big or Na'Vi as well. So then you've got to add even more. But thankfully, it's not my job to actually explain that. And I can just sit there and go, mech win equals through, liquid win equals more complicated. Give it back to Lothar. He'll explain. But yeah, for this matchup, I think that obviously, in my mind at least, for Ascend, I want to see them have a strong performance here, because I think right now, everybody's got Fnatic at the top, FPX maybe slightly below, and then there's a drop, and then I think there's every other team. And that's just how it looks right now. I think everybody has those two as the two that will qualify to Masters, and then the third spot is up for grabs. Ascend have the capability to play as one of the best teams in the world. We saw their crazy run for champions last year. So that they can do it. They have the players that are capable. If they get banged out by FPX here, then my third team is Guild.
yeah, I mean, it's very much what I was expecting your first take to be with how Guild have played. But you know, fair enough. Yeah, you can not cut them that slack. I think they've looked fantastic thus far. But looking up against this matchup here, yeah, as we're saying, there's going to be a lot of well, hopefully a little bit of experimentation in there for these teams, because like we're saying, sure, the seeding could be important, but there could be a world where you win this game and go, damn, I wish I was third right now. I wish I was taking on that top team. Probably not. But I guess for these teams, you never know what form the others are showing up on. When you look at FPX, though, they've just been a little bit too clean for me to really question them at the moment. I think Ascend have been slightly shaky. That G2 game wasn't as convincing as I would have liked to see out of them. And FPX haven't really made me doubt them all that much. The game they lost was versus Fnatic, and even then made a damn good swing at it, taking a map off them. So I'll have to give them the favor coming into this one. But yeah, you can definitely see a good form Ascend coming through and making this a completely different game.
Well, I did hear in my ear a moment ago that we might be tossing this one off to a little break. So we'll be back in a moment, and then we will get into the game. Fingers crossed.
Dare to challenge yourself. Who's next?
You can't hold me down.
Dare to challenge yourself. Who's next?
Well, Tom, it looks like we're not going to have to wait too much longer. Players are just getting onto the server now, and we should be diving on into the map very, very soon. Fingers crossed, indeed. I don't know, man. I think kicking this one off, FPX come through with a little bit of momentum. We could be looking at a scary matchup, but I'm hoping for a nice 3-mapper out of this.
Yeah, I don't think it's like beyond the realms of possibility. I just have a lot more faith in FPX right now. The only team that they lost to was Fnatic. Doombros was saying that ultimately it's one of the only games they haven't been able to have any footage on, because it was a new team with new players. The last time they played was a Masters game where they were playing with a different player in there as well. So for them to actually research and counter was almost impossible. Now they actually have a lengthy amount of footage versus a lot of different teams. So I don't think FPX are afraid to go back up against Fnatic. Angel even said it in the interview. And I don't think there's anyone right now that they're afraid of. I think the only thing with Ascend is the fact that they have superstar caliber. They can pop off at any moment. And like, for example, if you have Zeke, Starzo, and CNED all hitting their stride, I don't think there's a team in the world that can beat them.
Well, look, I think there's some teams that'll give you a run for your money. I mean, get a Durka Alpha Air on fire, and all of a sudden you've definitely got a matchup there. But when we walk on into this one, it is definitely a fear. It's that underlying context for me that if there's that little bit of a shake out of Ascend, and look, they've had the last week work on everything, come back through. As I said, the G2 game wasn't fantastic, but there was plenty to learn from there as well. And hopefully they've managed to fix up some of those issues coming into today. They'll certainly need it up against FPX. And I mean, Tom, starting things out as well. I mean, we already had the analyst desk go through the veto. Map number 1 being Bind. This was Ascend's map pick. Do you think that's going to see my worry when I think back? I think it was the G2 game, right? Where we had the the start on Split from Ascend. Yeah, where they started on the attack side. They chose the map, started attack, and they just got nothing done. Now, at least the one upside here being that Bind, a little bit easier to get it done on that attack than it is over on Split.
Yeah, I think the other thing as well is like for FPX, we've only really seen them play versus OG London United, and it doesn't really teach me a lot, if I'm being brutally honest. Like, the only team they managed to beat was G2. G2 have looked shaky all season, and OG London United have been spanked by any of the good teams. So I think for me, ultimately, Ascend going into a map that historically has been incredibly strong for them. They've switched up compositions to sort of make it more, I guess, within the meta, but also within the comfort picks of the team. I think that they have a very good shot on this map, but as within all the maps within this pool, it's going to be a middle ground because these are both world-class teams.
They most certainly are, and well, they're finally ready to kick things off here as we get on into Bind. FPX on the defensive side, as we said, Ascend chose this map, so they have the misfortune of starting on attack. That was what cost them so much in the first map of their previous series. Let's see how they get on this time around. It's a solid opening for them. Starzo already able to pick up Artis. And with that, 4v5 for them. They're going on through as well. Blitzing down after the wall. The smoke from Angel applies him an angle that's safe. But, well, there's not a lot to be done.
There's at least one trade, but it definitely doesn't work out too well for FPX. And getting back in on the crosshair is going to be incredibly difficult. CNED still just playing that extra range. I think they've got the information of where both remaining players are, and Morvac isn't going to sit still. He's just running straight at them. Low HP for Shao, but still, an instant headshot will grant him an extra orb.
Marked one.
4 HP. I feel like he might have another orb coming his way unless he decides to go down to that spike. Might almost be worthwhile. Oh, it's close. CNED able to make it out of there, and Monsters coming through the smoke to finish it off. So you're gonna have that 1-0 for Ascend, all things considered. Nothing to write home about, I suppose. They get through with a couple of pistols, but this one here should be a write-off as well. FPX taking the eco. I'm interested though as to what their plan is. Like, there's a lot of dangers, and specifically when you're looking at the combinations you can find with a fade and a raise on this map alone, your early round could be destroyed by a well-placed seize and nade. You got to be careful coming into this round as Ascend on the attack for sure.
Yeah, I'm also intrigued by the switch back away from Brimstone. Like, both teams currently not running it. We know on this map in particular, incredibly strong in terms of the ultimate, but also just the abilities that it has in terms of having those fast-paced smokes just for the executions, and also just having Molotovs for afterplant. So Angel switching to it, there always seems to be versatility within this man. I don't think he ever plays the same composition twice unless it's something that's so good he can't run anything else. But I feel like, I don't know. I feel like I'm intrigued to see what he does with it. Like, is it directly to just go 1-to-1 versus Zeke, or is it just okay, it's something we've been running anyway?
Spike planted.
And this one here is when you were talking about Brimstone, this is his second most popular map, right? You got Fracture, where pretty much everybody runs in, but the stats hold up even going into North America. It was something I was really intrigued by over the last couple of weeks, looking at some of the North American teams and feeling a genuine disconnect with what Valorant is and how it's played. Like, when I watch the round, the games feel very different for what I would say is the first time ever. Like, for more than just an individual, but it's also like the very fact that we have such incredible teams, I guess, and the skill levels creeping up and all that sort of stuff, it contributes to it. I just saw we've got a Zowie power round that kind of threw me off. This is new to me, Tom. I like it. Of course, you're getting all these rifles through from FPX, so there's a lot of power on the side of the defense here, and this is where Ascend look to make use of the weaker weapons that they've saved through in the rifle on CNED.
I'm not liking Ziphad's spot. I'm not liking this position with the rifle. They're not going to check for it, though. Somehow he's got away with a kill. Shouldn't be anything more, but his teammates... Oh, I was going to say we're cleaning it up, but Xiao's run out of bullets. Luckily, Angel, the rock within the sight. But even an extra kill here, Zeke wouldn't be bad. There you go, already 3 kills in a bonus round. It's a pretty decent spot, and he's actually going to escape with the spike.
Just it away. That's a plan secure. He knows that Artist was close. Not too sure about Sugetsu, but
Spike planted.
Safe for now. Spams are coming close. Gonna use it to cross back over. Not detected by that knife. Goes back into the smoke. He could have the jump on one of these players. I mean, FPX want to be careful. Stick this together, not walk into the smoke alone, and now be able to trade. They're swinging alone, though. Artist has gone down to get 2 miles behind. Now he's going to look to swing the same angle, and Zeke punishes it just the same. A disgusting clutch, but look, the opportunities were given.
This man is already on fire today. That's the thing with Zeke. I feel like you're gonna watch one day and he'll be one of the quieter performers, and then he could easily be one of the best players in the world the next. And 8-0 to start, obviously switching up his role. We saw this last week as well, but moving away from what has been a very successful raise on this map to playing on the Omen, and it looks just as good, at least so far.
I mean, fantastic picking up that round. You've got CNED coming through with a rifle, but nobody else had anything that should have looked that good. I like the early utility down there, but they're not quite able to follow through on it with a kill. And then on the other side, Sagetsu trades out CNED. Fantastic start for FPX, considering they're just coming in on pistols. But, I mean, this is a round where they sort of need to come through with some impact because they kind of whiffed up the last round.
I'm liking the way that Saigetsu's using a lot of these trips much deeper for like information. Basically trying to deny that space early so that if they don't actually necessarily have to play towards long until somebody actually breaks some of that utility, and the same deep into hookah as well. I think it's almost just being utilized as almost an extra initiator at this point. Nice shot from Zipan as well. This round's starting to get a little shaky, Midge.
Certainly is with that nade going through as well. That's going to be big damage to Vac or force him into the open. But Zipan's not able to punish. The smoke down in heaven stops Artist from doing much. At least you would think that flash pop, allowing the peek to come through from his teammate. Angel couldn't find anyone on that angle. Goes down as well. Very nicely cleaned up here by ACEND. You know, with 2 players that are, or 3 players that are all so low, things could have been a disaster when this comes down to the 4 and then 3v3. See if we can drop 1 or 2 more players here. No, nothing even. I mean, this is such a huge start for ACEND, Tom. 4-0 in the lead. Losing 2 players here. It's not the end of the world. Especially because they're coming in with the showstopper right away. The only player with an ult online. And you know pretty much off the bat, FPX are going to want to play for orbs here. Like, I think this is probably going to be a slightly slower round out of ACEND. And with a guaranteed showstopper back pocket, this is huge.
If only they were on Fracture. I have 4 ultimates online, but even still, it's a very good spot for them to be in. I will keep an eye on that showstopper, just to see where Starzo is actually going to be playing. For now, at least, seems to be the person almost roaming around outside B, just in case there's any aggression onto short. Artist, though, well, he's looking to try and reclaim control and punish for it. An easy opener, and I think that's a couple of times now that Mitch, Artist has been caught trying to get aggressive.
I mean, CNED was in the same boat before, right? He went down a couple of times, out for a vengeance now with that early pick, and a follow-up onto Sagetsu. Trying to reclaim a little bit of map control, get a little bit of aggression out there, and be the thorn in the side that FPX needed. Instead, left them in a position where, to be honest, they might consider the save on this one. Got 3 players with rifles. 3v5, showstopper still in back pocket for ACEND. They got a quick take, so they've still got utility to play with. You know that. They've been using a snake bite for bathroom, but they'll still have 1.
1 enemy remaining.
And, well, running in here, it seemed like suicide. Jesus, he got the 2nd kill there as well. That is ridiculous, but not enough in this situation. 5-0, ACEND are steaming into the lead, and their economy's thriving.
Yeah, I want to pause for FPX. The way that we're currently seeing FPX go for aggression, I really don't like it. Like, even if you look at the 2v1 they played, it was 1 player peaks, the other person's way too far behind. And for a squad that's normally incredibly well regimented, it's not looking like that at the moment. Even take this round. Artist and Saigetsu go for completely separate pieces of aggression on the same side of the map. Like, play that together, you take away some map control, okay, you have to give up somewhere else, but that's normally how you do it. You don't just go for these solo risky plays. Okay, when you're in a chamber, makes perfect sense. but there is no exit plan there for Artist other than trying to run back into a smoke, and that, well, as you can see, it didn't work out at all. And these are the exact fights that Ascend want. You give them 1v1 duels, again, find a team that does it better. There aren't many, if any.
Yeah, I think the success over on B and some of those punishes, like I said, onto CNET early, getting him out of the round, keeping him nerfed, I suppose, when he's playing on that chamber is huge. And, you know, the Artist hears that happening on the other side of the map, and he's like, you know what, I can do that. I can make a little bit of a play here. But yeah, he runs into the full force of CNED rifle in hand, and all 5-0 for Ascend without CNED popping off. That's very much what you were saying at the start, Tom. Your Zeke, your Starzo, they're having a game so far, but it's still early days. Still plenty of time for FPX to make a move back in. I'm not sure if they'll be expecting anybody to be creeping up on Hookah quite this quickly, but they have got a camera that can see it, so shouldn't be too much of an issue. The benefits of having Cypher these days, just huge.
I think the real danger as well is I don't think you can expect CNED to do much on the attacking side as Chamber. Like, ultimately, he's just having to take raw fights at times and almost play slower than he normally would. When it comes to the defense, he's going to be basically just Jet again. Like, I'm going to peek a really aggressive angle, and if anything, it's better than Jet because I completely disappear once you try and trade me. Angel! Straight through the TP, 2 players' heads gone, and wow, this round just got interesting. The spike is dropped right in front of them.
Crazy setup, spotting them out first. Oh, here comes the showstopper as well. Really throwing everything they've got at this round, and why not? They've had no success. Oh, look at this. Artist getting the aggression to work out as well. Oh, that was a little bit shaky, but he got there. Got there in the end. Couple players low HP. CNED demand that almost ace on this map.
How many does CNED get?
With Sheriff. Yeah. He can do this with a Vandal, but it's going to be tough. 15 seconds left, and you've got Angel running the other side of the map. I love the idea here, man. They've got pistols. They spot the players coming into Hookah, so they early cleared it. Obviously with the Fade clearing it out. Fall back, spot them coming through, and then they have a nade ready from Zipan and Angel going through the TP. Now, the nade was perfect. I think it was on their feet, but Angel was a little too quick, just popping those heads, man. That made it look like it was a solo play, but they had the crunch in as well, players coming from B side. That was a trap that they had set with
the
pistols.
nade. The nade was through the TP as well, so he went that early so that the doors would be open.
Yeah. And if, you know, if they're turned around, they kill you, well, there's still a nade at their feet. So,
yeah, exactly.
Good luck.
No matter what, it was going to cause damage because they either, avoid the nade or go for the kill. Oh, that's not pretty. A little bit of a trap setup, but again, the trade is almost instantaneous. It's both Rays players gone within the first few seconds of the round, and Angel already trading things back. Another double, just on the edge of the smoke, playing around these one-ways. Well, Nightfall is going to give away that information. Even still, though, CNED's landing shots.
Oh, Sagetsu's being caught. CNED with another. That's to the head of Sagetsu. Giving Artist the 1v2, and well, CNED's not going to miss that one either.
Oh my God.
This is why we're saying it's impressive to see Ascend showing up like that without CNED popping off, because, you know, it's only a matter of time until he does.
Oh, yeah, when he gets a free off.
Yep, that'll do it.
It's like, every few rounds, I murder you all. So you better make sure you don't give me too many orbs. Every single shot here as well was almost a reaction shot. Like, you see someone swing on him, and it's just so fast. Like, I don't think there's much you can even do against it. Players, in a lot of times, even manage to connect a bullet or two, but by that point, well, they're being hit. 4 shots, 4 kills. And while Ascend now 6-1 up, it's going to do damage to the economy of FPX as well, Mitch. This buy is not good.
No, it's not exactly ideal.
Scout destroyed.
And again, Starzo having the game that he is. You've got that safety net of a showstopper to play around. A Viper's Pit for a monster that's unlikely to be committed from the start of the round, but you're going to have that again as a contingency if things do get a little bit closer. FPX need a big play, and Angel's going to try to make it, creeping all the way through B. They've stacked up the A site. They want to contain and crunch Angel needs to be careful not to be caught here. That
was just random spam. That was off no information. It was just in case someone had pushed up. Zeke was like, you know, I'm going to spam this box just for the hell of it. And he almost kills Angel without even knowing. The timing as well. Actually just gonna, is he gonna fake it? Or he's just going all the way back to site, making sure that rotation's there, but almost leaving a little bit of doubt in the heads of his opponents. Still though, Mitch, this is a stack.
Oh, right on in. Starzo going to be going down right away. Zipan dropping the nade, dropping everything to try and deal with this push, but ACEND just keep on moving forward. 10 seconds are thereabouts. This monster picks up a third, and the spike is planted. All of a sudden, they've got not just the plant, but the round, and this has just been incredible to watch. The rounds that ACEND are winning, I like that push out there. Everything just seems to fall into place.
This is the one thing I haven't missed. Like the one thing I really enjoyed about the Astra meta is I never had to watch anybody try and do that shadow step into the site and just get shot in the face while someone's just looking at him like, really? Really? This was your attempt at making something? 7-1. ACEND looking formidable on this map once again. They were once the best team in the world on this map in particular. And it looks like they're back.
Again, so you know, you gotta let the game play out, but 7-1, I certainly I'm finding it hard to deny what you're saying.
7-1's never a good score.
Yeah. That's true. Germany in the sweepstakes. Be solid. Backs down. ACEND starting to struggle a little bit on entering through. That showstopper was used a previous round, and that's where we start to look down here and say, well, you know, Viper's pick could maybe be used, but they've got to get to the site first, and that might not be easy.
I think fast shot from Zipan and more. Now it's left all onto Zeke. Okay, that one wasn't as pretty, but still going to get the kill. Jumps out, manages to catch another. This man in clutches already has proven you can't give him any space.
Spike planted.
Spike this time will be planted. Going to get his way back into the corner, but he's caught reloading. Not expecting Xiao to be there quite as fast as he was, and FPX will at least get their second.
Oh, there you go, the defuse confirming it up. 2 on the board. A long road to get back into this one, but it's not impossible. We've seen teams do it before. 3 to play 4 in the half, but problem always going to be ACEND have that massive chunk of cash built up. They're going to be able to buy right back into this one. You're going to have ultis coming back online, and so far they have looked very good on the attack. The fact that Zeke is almost able to close that out as well in a 1v5 makes a really good effort at it. It's certainly worrying, Tom. It's gonna have to be buttoned down gameplay from here on out for FPX.
Again, we're going to see early clears of some of these more aggressive positions, a default being held, and information to be had of this aggressive position currently being set. It does take a little bit of a tag on the way out, but no harm, no foul.
A global Cypher gameplay. A trap used to hold down Hookah. They're not holding it at all, right? They smoked it, start a round, and then your Cypher's playing other side of the map, has the cam to work with as well. Big fan of this, giving them the blanket coverage, although FPX want to seal up some of these gaps. It looks like they're expecting a hit the aggression in, and there's the smoke down from Angel as well.
It takes him out of the cam because it clips him through the edge of the wall. That's actually a really nice snake bite that was thrown in onto Saigetsu. Even still, though, the siege is even better. Caught them on their way through. That's actually the spike. First player with the spike, always going to be a bit of an issue, and while Zeke's stuck in some animations there, nonetheless, Zipan just found 3 kills. Starzo now the last man standing, and well, not for long.
Very nice. I mean, for FPX, from the get-go, it seemed like they had a good read on this round. You know, the fact that they give up the hookah control, they play the Cypher util, they start to play a little bit of a rotate. Angel's pushing up for info. He had early flank if they needed it for that contain. I do think that that's something that ACEND are going to be hyper aware of, is the fact that Angel has been trying to creep behind them. And he's pretty much like the only player you want to really worry about getting
'Cause
past
he's
that trap,
insane.
right? But the fact that he can try to step past, he can
That's
smoke
true.
it, he can actually get behind you, and then if he's able to slip through behind, he will win the round for them. So you're seeing ACEND constantly have to keep a player kind of around there, at least within earshot. These much slower rounds based around catching that flank, but coming in these last two, I'm interested to see if they continue that sort of aggression. I don't think he'll do it again, just because it's been attempted so many times at this point.
You remember who you're talking about, right?
Yeah, True Frag and Brimstone, man. Yeah, I just want to.
Yeah, you're talking about a man who used to wide swing split on an Astra. Like this man has no fear. He's picked up an op, so if he does continue to push, he is mad, but he is, so he probably will.
Yeah.
In the best possible way, Angel is definitely a bit mad.
They do seem to be behind playing out of hookah a lot. This time, look at the aggression out of them. They're going to try to cancel that Trailblazer. It's been coming through most of the rounds up close, right? What did Angel see just a round or two ago? No, the previous round it was.
Look where he is already.
I've got your
It's nuts.
trail.
It's nuts. They use the utility, they get the control, but this has been a faster round out of ACEND. They challenged mid earlier. They put out the Seekers. They tried to take these fights and win one. Now they can pump the brakes. A minute 10 left on the clock. No need to rush on in, but they want to, and that was damn close. 20 HP left on Artis.
That's not what you want with the Viper's pit down. Well, it actually gives a little bit of space for Shao to almost sneak his way through. It's kind of helped them out a little bit. In fact, CNED now dropped, and now they'll get the information themselves of where all of these players are. And the worry within a pit is you're not going to be able to hear those footsteps, the running through of all of these angles. Even still, though, it's gone back into a 3v3. And while in an attempt to almost slow this down, ACEND are just pausing. They're waiting until they can hear again.
Tap. They attempt to pull these players in a little bit closer and then move to the other side, but Angel's still here, still waiting. The shot's not going to land. Out for the repeak, and Vac punishes. They've got control already on the side, but Shao, he almost caught him. Starzo lucky to be alive. That snake bite burned up. Monster's still going to be left with one. He didn't get his orb, though. The orb is still on A, so there's not really going to be a strong post plan to play off, but they've got the numbers to work with.
Here.
Yeah, they're waiting with a flash out as well. Enough to at least delay FPX quite a bit. And already, well, I was going to say having the player advantage, but Saigetsu quickly diminishes that. Even still, though, the peak has to come in just to make sure there's no one on the defusal. Starzo lands the shot, and now it's all on to Shao. And Monster won't give him the time of day. A break back again. This back and forth really not helping FPX because, well, ACEND are very far in the lead.
It's hard to imagine without like a pistol win or something like that. You'll see FPX resurge back into this. My worry was the first half, right? Like I said, versus G2, the ACEND pick split. They start attack side. They get nothing done. They lose 12-3, 13-3. The reality is coming into this. They start attack side, but it's bind. It's a lot easier, and it's ACEND bind as well. So it makes a huge difference. I like that we're seeing this knife down this 2 rounds in a row to try and deny if they had changed it up and went back to it. But Vac is, again, super passive outside of B. That's spotted by FPX. They start to rotate. But remember, last round, they were faked out. Even after the Viper Spit was used, the rotate came back to B. So FPX aren't rotating as quickly. They're not over-committing to that A site. They're going to stick on B. And so Angel still out here wide on long, but look, it's Vac on the other side. He's going to use utility to clear this, at least, I'd imagine.
Yeah. But the deep cam is actually going to help them out quite a bit because they've now actually spotted a player far enough away that you don't have to see that push through from Angel just yet. He's actually going to try and hold his ground, though, at least for now, and has a little bit of support coming back in from Ardis. Once again, though, they don't have to commit to this, and I think Angel's realized that. Taking the space back is going to be very important, but Vac is now aware. Done it too many times, and it was predicted.
They realize with Angel down, they can make this split happen. Fake out A with the nade. I thought even go for the TP. They've gotten them to use up the showstopper right away. It's out of the round. It's not going to have impact. Artis is down. Ult going to be deleted. With Monsters Lurk not having anything, it at least buys them an extra couple of seconds. 3 versus 3. Interestingly, that was Zeke that went for planned. I think at this point, though, everyone's 3 away. They're not worried about ultis. This is about closing out the round.
Making sure that the afterplant positions are well set up. Saigetsu trying to clear this close angle. It's not the prettiest of fights, but both players still standing, at least for now. And Starzy's managed to hold on to his ground. Cleared, though, by Zipan. Trade from Vac, but still keeping it onto one man. Zeke, he's had some tougher clutches than this, that's for sure. But now into the 1v2, needing a couple of kills, and Saigetsu too fast to take him out. 8-4, still incredibly strong half for Ascend and FPX. They need a comeback.
Switching sides.
They certainly do. That final round, at least somewhat of a foundation to build on. This pistol, though, going to carry a lot of weight with it. I see a lot of ghosts for FPX immediately, looking to bring the hurt right away.
Yeah, one other thing that's worth mentioning for both of the squads, though, obviously we haven't seen a whole lot of Bind this season. Like, it came out, obviously, in the game versus Focus. Again, it was a strong attack from Ascend, 6 rounds, they lost. Then you had the game versus G2, and I think, again, they had a fairly strong attack side. I think it was 8 rounds. So I'll be interested to see with FPX. Obviously, they got 9 rounds when it came to their attacking side, but again, that was versus OG London United. So I'm not going to really buy too much into that. They also then didn't lose any rounds on the second half, so it's definitely interesting. But I think of any team in terms of just those pure attack side setups, I think other than maybe Fnatic, FPX are one that always springs to mind. Like, especially thinking back to their Ascent coming into this tournament, they've had a lot of cool ideas revolving around Fade and those executions they've been able to pull off within it. So I definitely wouldn't call this done just yet, but I also don't think Ascend are going to be getting ahead of themselves here.
Yeah, look, the hard work is still ahead of them. Closing out this second half can be just as hard as the first one was. And look, I think for FPX, being on the attack side now, like you said, they've got those foundations to build on. We know that they're a strong team. It's Bind. Look, these things can happen. The comeback can definitely be in play. But I have to see this pistol play out first. And you're coming in 5 ghosts. It's a big statement. We're going to look to take those duels, take those fights. They've certainly got the weaponry advantage. But I want to see how Ascend react to this, because as much as that first half was weak from FPX, we know they can bounce back, but Ascend are not, slouches on this map. We've known them for Bind for so long, and now they're on the defense. It's their choice. I don't see a way that they let this slip most days, but maybe this is going to be a little shaky from them. Who knows? We're kicking it off. That tech pause finally subsided. We're going to be rocking on into round number 13. As we said, full ghosts for FPX. This attack's going to be a little bit slow. They're spreading the net, looking to catch anybody pushing.
I can't use that.
There is, that's for sure. CNED, I think you can expect this for basically the whole of the half. He's going to be pressing on the outskirts of the map, having the ability to escape. It's why I think we've been so excited to see him on this chamber. It is this defensive side that sings true to this agent's true strength. He's going to be pressured, though. And actually, well, it takes a couple of shots, but make sure he's able to escape.
$50 seconds left, and FPX have made barely any noise. That's an explosive take as they finally come in and show their entire hand, everything that they've got blitzing on the way in. But Ascend don't bite. They play back. They play nice and passive. Still end up losing Zeke. This control being fought for by FPX with so many players to nade down. Monster's running forward and getting a double. That's unbelievable. Xiao's gonna do it all, and he's coming close. Monster left to deal with. Both players so low. It's Monster that has to defuse, though. And that's where the difficulty comes in. Still with a Haunt to play with. Xiao doesn't even need to peek at this point, and well, he's realizing that this one could be nice and easy. Out goes the Haunt, revealing him up, and well, actually not revealing him. Xiao almost fell for it. Oh, that was almost a big bait. But Monster goes down in the end. Wow.
I'm almost surprised he peeks that, because the whole point of the Haunt is to check if there's anyone on the spike.
He's not on spike, but yeah, he just questioned himself, right? Thought for that second, like, what if it missed?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, the way that he played it was perfect up until the point where he doubted his own play, and that like it's definitely something that will happen. Like, you want to make sure, and ultimately he did. He won the round anyway. Nice attempt from Monster. but this is now the lifeline. And as said, if there's any team I believe in on this attacking side, it's going to be FPX. So I think there has to be something fairly quick in response from ACEND to make sure this doesn't get out of control.
The opening shot not landing. And I'm surprised Teenan's going right back in. He is looking to continue fighting for control over this hookah position. He's about to be challenged, 2 players up close, but it's a ton of utility. I think he was about to be seasonated if he stuck around. That could have been a disaster. He's made it out though.
She'll actually get caught here. I was about to say, he was looking the wrong way. Never mind, they get the kill anyway. Artist on the other side with a rifle, a chance to really farm up the frags, but definitely not something they want to give away. And well, they've caught every single aggressive position. Quick stuff from FPX to get themselves in onto the site and a chance for the after plant. But any extra kills here really wouldn't be a miss for ACEND.
Certainly wouldn't be frowned upon to grab a few exits here. I think they can run the clock down. Try to contain them as best as possible if they want. But of course, ACEND with this TP to play with. A headhunter to look for that one bullet. He's out here floating around, but it's caught as well. Oh, the element of surprise out the window.
Yeah, not really much he can do here. May wait for the flash to come back, see if he can get something from that. Not like he can take it forward with him anywhere. Oh, no. Oh, we can't see Zipan's face, but I'm sure he's got a smile on it because he definitely shouldn't have got away with that one.
Yeah, a little bit closer than you would have liked. Getting away with most of their players alive. Fantastic FPX rifles to work with right here. Quite a lot of rifles. I'm going
It's actually mad that Zipan is currently the top fragger in the server. Considering how that first half went, that's not something that really rings true in my mind. Like, obviously, it was even Xiao clutching out in the last round, or in the first round, and then he got 3 kills in that. But even still, like, I was imagining either Zeke, Stars, or CNET being right at the top of the board at the moment.
Well, Tom's the Zowie power-up round here. Both teams have an equal footing coming into this one. Economy invested, roughly the same as we said. FPX having those 3 rifles definitely put the hurt to their opponents, but ACEND, oh wow, CNET down to 47 HP. That TP cost him a lot of health.
Oh, Vac forced off. But it's just holding from FPX.
Shadows traveling.
But they are going to get the heal back off. At least giving a little bit more for CNET in this round. And of course, again, with the rifles that have been upgraded here, there's still a good opportunity. Angel not going to be traded. Artist still trying to get a little bit more aggressive, and he will win the duel. Bastazo's just slaughtered everyone else. 3 kills in a matter of seconds. Come on now, you see the switch back up. So I get to making his way in the other direction, and they should have themselves the A site for
30
free.
seconds left.
They do. They're still cautious on the way through, burning up a few precious seconds. But it's worthwhile just to ensure this spike does get planted.
Cage triggered.
And here we go. Artist is going to try to pick one off as they make their way through. It's a nice position. It's only at the start to make sure they didn't stop that spike defuse. Or spike plant, excuse me. He's got that little head peek angle. Oh, there we go. First victim already stepping up, and he whips. And Monster, well, he's quick to punish. Sugetsu wants to sneak his way around, knows that Starzo's up top, but he can't quite land the shots.
Oh,
the round that goes to ACEND, and that's exactly it, Tom. That's the danger lurking. It's not just the win for ACEND, it's the showstopper for the buy of FPX.
Yeah, even still, it's sort of a bonus. They still have enough to buy, so that's the main thing for FPX, and they managed to bring it down to just a couple of players surviving. So the only issue is that because of the frags coming through on a couple of players, they've actually got 2 ults going into a round that, even though there might be a piece or 2 missing elsewhere, I think it would be quite easy for ACEND to almost fill those gaps off those couple of ultimates, especially with one of them being a Viper's Pit. That's a very easy way to lock down portions of the map. Thing is, though, Zipan and Artis also have their ult, so It almost is just going to be that chess game while the first piece has already been played.
Orb taken up. One away now. Having that nightmare to play with, and that smoke's going down slowly. Zeke, the timing, and he still gets away with it. Oh, Angel's not able to punish in time, and now Monster playing behind his ult. The Showstopper's gonna come looking for him, but Monster's able to take it down. He's got 3, and that's an easy follow-up for Starzo. The round is Ascends, and such an important one. What a hold by Monster, and that's why you just don't see players pushing through Viper's pits, Tom. It's just not an easy thing to do. Even with a Showstopper, you're so low HP. It just takes that one bullet.
Yeah, there's always a risk making a play through an ultimate that literally tanks your HP, but Monster still does incredibly well there not to get isolated, or even just giving away his position. I think that's the more important thing, because if Zipan knows he's there, well, that's a very, very easy kill with the Showstopper. Now, though, things become a little bit more troublesome again for FPX. They've used a couple of their ults in that round. I don't think the others have really built up, and ultimately they're caught off by 2 cheeky plays. One being Zeke, which, yeah, that TP was bold as hell, but then also just that Viper's Pit, just being aggressive around it, taking that contact for the rest of the team. And well, we mentioned a few players in terms of pop-off potential. One of them hasn't been Monster, which I almost feel bad for not doing, because he's had a very good tournament so far. And I think for one of the new additions, at least for the VCT, like someone coming in from the lower divisions being picked up from a roster that ultimately didn't have much success, and then moving up, and well, he doesn't look like he's out of place, I'll put it that way.
Four rounds between them, but coming on to Sheriff's got to be demotivating when you're over on that FPX side. I think that if you're Ascend, double digits here, play nice and slow, Showstopper still to work with, and I think that's the huge thing. It's the fact that Starzo, we highlighted he had that Showstopper. It could have been a massive difference maker, and well, he still had it to work with coming out of the round. Zeke has just sprayed them away, deleted all their utility, didn't give a damn. And of course, when you're up against opponents who have light shields and Sheriffs, it's gonna be easy enough to do.
Yeah, especially if you're Zeke. Ard is still trying to take that little bit of extra space, but ultimately they're waiting on the cross, and just even getting into the site now is going to be an impossibility. Having to just try and make this one at least a little bit costly, but with the way this round is going, it could be a huge economy booster, and basically making it just having to be, well, flawless victories on the other side to get anything done. 11-6, Ascend firmly in the driver's seat, and well, FPX, they got to go a bit deeper into their strat book, and that's sort of the problem with this game, Mitch. I don't think either of these teams want to.
This was nuts. I love that little spray from Zeke, the follow-up. The spray control to take the second kill. It's hard to do with a Phantom, but you do it on an eco. Let's see what he does up against the full buy. Now they've got that nightmare to work with, but not too much else over on FPX. You know, it's not a very ult-heavy economy that they're rocking with. Where's Ascend? They've still got that power. And you know, one of the things that, all right, knife used right away. This is telling Starzo, I can use my Showstopper. I know I can't be canceled out.
Just run in, not expecting anyone to be close. Showstopper out, and well, this round is done. Ard is the last man standing. A matter of seconds, his whole team has gone. He'll at least get seeded, but I don't think he's finding Starzo. The nade, in fact, will get that finished off. 12-6. Ascend again, striking fear into the hearts of anyone that decides to face them on bind.
Yeah, I think this is a statement. It definitely is. Line in the sand drawn coming out of this one. If you're Ascend, 12-6, coming up against FPX, a team that we have come into today, come into this season saying they look fantastic. They've been playing good Valorant, and certainly looking like towards the end of the season more so, they're looking better and better. They haven't had these stumbles so far, and for Ascend to push them to that limit, it answers a lot of the questions that we've been asking, at least if they can continue to do this and to show that consistency. Oh, seen it. Ooh, he hasn't gotten the kill. Well, Angel's just being given a second life for free. That doesn't happen all too often.
Zipan also managing to take a little space. It is being watched, though. Monster's got the info. The Flash will find them more. I think Vac's done very well at just getting that extra little bit of info for the squad. And while Monster has said, we'll close out that kill. A solo peek, an individual fight being taken in the hopes of getting something done. And that's the spike. What's going on? Like, there's been some really peculiar rounds coming out of FPX, and I think this might be the height of them. They're going to actually TP not to the spike. Angel's gone to elbow.
Can't help but think that's not where he meant to go to. Unless he's trying to mask the sound. No, I'm not going to even... No, I don't know. Strange choice. Maybe thought he could get massive kills from here. Yeah, disrupt like that. Catch them on the cross. Stop them getting back into hookah. And well, I guess he was relying on Xiao to do it, and he certainly did.
He might not be able to hear. He might lose half his HP, but CNEB will still land an operator shot. And now Xiao has got seconds to spare. 10 left to try and get anything done. Nice shot onto Zeke, but ultimately getting onto this site is going to be impossible. They just don't need to fight him. And, well, he has to kill everyone in the last second, and it isn't going to happen. Ascend 13-6. A statement victory. FPX not quite matching up when it comes to bind. And, well, Ascend, I think they're back on top.
I was coming in today hoping that we get a 3-mapper out of this one, that Ascend can, you know, fight with the big dogs of FPX with the shaky performance they put up so far. But Tom, well, we've gotten a whole lot of a better game now. FPX on the back foot, having to recover coming onto their map pick. And I have to say, they looked a little bit flat here. That's definitely not what I was expecting. Coming onto a bind, I had high hopes for them, and they've certainly not met them on map number 1.
Well, luckily, there could still be a couple more maps to go. So we're going to be throwing this one off to a break, and then we'll be back with map number 2.
Welcome back to VCT EMEA Challengers Week 5. We are 1 map into our first series. Ascend take their map pick, 13-6. Bind is done and dusted. FPX on the back foot. My name's Ian Chambers on the desk with Lothar and Kakuka. Kakuka, it was a... Sorry, I'm gonna work on it, all right?
Yeah, you're doing great.
Thank you. It was a convincing win. Did we expect it to go down like that? I think the answer is no, right?
Yeah, the answer is no. We understand that Ascend has picked this map for a reason, but still, we need to acknowledge what happened last week against G2. And this Ascend... after getting the first 4 rounds, I was like, oh, I think I've been here before. This is now when FPX just comes back and start getting rounds on the board. No, Ascend looks super decisive. They knew what to do on every single round. I think that is not only them surprised that Ascend looks so consistent. What happened to FPX?
I feel like Ascend just punished the mistakes from FPX so hard that there was almost no way of clawing back for FPX into the game. And it's solely because FPX always lost a valuable player when it comes to the utility as one of the first deaths. And we have seen that from Angel dying 5 times on this map, 5 times first. That's your omen. That's your recurring smokes. That's also one of the topics I wanted to say about Zeke. Zeke is he swapped to an omen here on this map to have a more recurring power when it comes to the smokes. So seeing Angel dying so many times first is actually a big detriment to the team. But not only that, in general, Ascend was just winning gunfights first a lot. 11 versus 6. That's a big difference.
Yeah, exactly. And if we focus on that second half where FPX only managed to get that pistol round and the round after that, to me the most surprising is maybe this has not been the Zenit show that we have sometimes been used to. The work that Zenit was doing onto Hookah, going for that first pick with the chamber and actually forcing so much out of FPX every single round. You don't only force players to be playing on that same spot of the map, you force so much utility, so much credits out of them that it creates a lot of pressure, especially when it comes to time, because after you go past Zenit, you still have to work with the timing of Monster and his Viper wall.
Yeah, and not only that, I feel like Zenit is, when he's playing on chamber, he has a little bit of more freedom that he had on Jet in the past. right? So he's feeling more confident in taking those duels. He's able also to perform better when he's on lower buy, which is obviously not the case on this map because they were just rolling in cash all the time. Like really, the first 4 rounds when they were winning, I wanted to say this probably ACEND still gonna lose, but they just never let it go, you know, like because they typically lost after.
Another thing that I really liked about CNET is that he did not hesitate one single moment when to rendezvous, when to just go back out of the question. You're not going to see him overpick.
In the pre-show, we talked up Staxa a lot, and we gave him a lot of attention. And Lothar, we were absolutely right to, weren't we?
I mean, Staxa was popping off. You know, he's playing on Raze, of course, so it's easier to deal that average damage if you remember what I was saying about Suigetsu and his agents. But Staxa just pops off. 176 damage per round. That's insane. That's just bonkers. That's so much value giving to the team. Even if he wouldn't get a singular kill, but deals so much damage every round, it's probably shifting the chances for the team to win.
And actually reinforces the roles that we were seeing, right? We mentioned how CNET was, going for that first kill maybe with the operator, but Starkster knows that he has to be the next one. He goes for the extra pressure, for the utility that actually deals that damage. We talk about how flexible he is. I wonder what he's going to pick on Breeze.
Do you know what my favorite partnership is in the history of esports? Lothar and a Telestrator. Listen, I know there's a certain round you want to dig into, Lothar. Take it away.
Well, I actually have three clips here, and production will gonna kill me. So I'm gonna go super fast. Okay, first, I think this is the most important round of the game for FPX, and unfortunately, it all falls down to one impact kill where Ardis fails to actually kill the player. So the thing is, the setup is this is post-plant 2v3. They need to play aggressive, play first contact. This is why Ardis looks at lamps from this position, while the other player, Suigetsu, is able to peek off that contact when that happens. So they have like a pincer movement. So when Ardis has the contact, Suigetsu peeks, pushes in with that SMG, and essentially clears that round and gets an advantage. But unfortunately, Ardis here chooses not to go for the precision ADS and just fails to get the kill. And that was most important part of the game because this was the bonus round, and they went with 3 rifles into that bonus round. Then another round that I wanted to talk about here is something that we have seen from FPX overall really badly is that they just are disjointed. This is a round where they try to execute on B, but pay attention to what is happening in front of Hookah. I'm gonna zoom in on the minimap. The main execution on this round should be coming in from long. This is the main force that should be doing the pressure, and then the players from Hookah are like the second contact for this round. But instead, what is happening here is you're gonna see that Shao is gonna go alone into Hookah before any pressure is being done from long. And because of that, he essentially becomes the sole execution of this round, and that's not gonna go well if one player just goes into the unknown. So unfortunately, that, let's say, lack of coherence with FPX did cost him so many rounds. That's essentially it. I'm gonna finish here. Essentially, that's gonna cost him the entire map because they failed to play as a team. And also that round, Shao was prepared to use his Nightfall, and he just died first.
I think it got to their heads, especially with the situation that they were having on Hookah, how ACEND was swapping things around, not knowing exactly what your goal is in that part of the map.
All right, well, up next, we're of course going to Breeze. That is our next map that we'll be throwing you guys into very shortly. What do we need to see change from FPX here, Kakuka? Because I know for various reasons you want to see that final map.
Yeah, I really want to see Split, especially because it's the only map that we still have to see FPX play on this stage. So something that I want to see also coming on to Breeze, Ardis most likely is going to be playing on that Jet. We talk about all the nerfs that she's had. I expect ACEND to be playing something completely different because we have only seen them playing this map once in the entire year, and that was against Guild, and it didn't look good. That's all that I'm going to say. But it was the first time that they played without the duelist, and CNET was playing on the Chamber. They were also running Astra Viper. Weird thing. So that is what we expected the changes on the side of FPX. Maybe the extra aggression, actually giving the freedom that Ardis was looking for on that KO is going to come to him with Jet, if he stays there.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if we're gonna see Ardis maybe back on the KO as well, because it's still a very valuable agent on Breeze. And coming into a map, when I look at the FPX's previous compositions, they try out so many different stuff, right? And maybe it's gonna be another curveball being thrown by FPX to change something and try out a new composition. Wouldn't be surprised for that, you know? Maybe some Yoru.
How as we wait for Agent Select, we'll get there soon and we can actually, tuck into what we do see unfold. But first, I wanted to ask you, Lothar, if ACEND do manage to get the job done here in 2 maps, how much of a statement win is that?
Well, it does affect the seeding directly, right? So that's a big statement. But in general, I feel like it's more. First map was more of an indication of FPX not playing well than ACEND playing well together, like we expect them to play. They still have a lot more to prove that they are on the same or similar level of power that we have seen them last year. Because this year I feel like when it comes to fans, they had super high expectations because, it's a championship team. Like, they should be called the world champions in general till the end of the year, till a new champion is being crowned. So the expectations are super high. The pressure is big on them. And if I'm not mistaken, Stax was also talking about that in one of the interviews. So the expectations are very high, and just this map and this match doesn't really prove anything yet.
I think it does. I think especially with something that Tom said, and I think has been very repeated to a lot of people, is Fnatic, then a little bit below FPX, and then the rest. Yeah. So if ACEND were to take this win, it makes us, takes us back to that moment where, they're the world champions, they're here for a reason, and maybe during the past weeks, and actually on the first stage, not even making it to playoffs, sent the wrong message. Now that they've made the changes, we've seen them sloppy. Last week, they managed to close up the map, but there is still things that are not 100% in. So if they manage to take this 2-0, I think is a pretty damn good statement. And they also managed to dodge.
It's a good conversation.
It's a Whopper statement.
Yeah, Titanic, humongous.
I'm hungry.
But yeah.
Wait, where did Whopper come from, by the way? We've used it like 16 times on this show.
It was
so
a pose that Big posted, right?
Well, in the pre-show, I had issues with like finding synonyms for big, and then production sent me like a tweet. There was like a lot of words, in it.
Well, as we wait to get Agent Select, as it comes up in front of us very soon. There it is. Talk us through it, Kakuka.
Oh, actually, I know that Lothar wants to pick it because Shao picked the Fade, and I know your thoughts on Fade here.
There's a lot of things. There's a lot of things. Yeah!
Oh my God, we're getting
guys,
two Fades.
Guys, okay.
This is supposed to be brief.
I'll be very brief, okay? Yoru on this map has lineups that can go into spawn from both sides, and it's actually crazy how fast you can rotate on this map. It's super flexible. The Fade alone on this map without another vision agent is gonna be tough. Using Sova and Fade together gives a lot of pressure being done on site that is hard to manage for the defense, but not only using Fade for that, it's gonna be very, let's say, not flexible at all, because you have a very limited range. So this is interesting approach from both teams.
It's insane. The fact that we're seeing Neon versus Yoru, still, we know we can pray for that. Phoenix doesn't look like it's going to happen, but actually both teams playing with Chamber as a solo sentinel. Let's call it a sentinel if we'll call it some way, but actually lacking and moving away from that Cypher, seeing the Fade coming in and no Sova's played. The information is going to be extremely interesting, especially the gathering of it, but I cannot wait to see those duels.
I'll tell you what, Lothar was off camera when he reacted to Agent Select there, and he was this close to slapping his bum again. I swear, this close. All right, let's get into the second map. We're going to Breeze with Mitch and Tom. You see, Mitch, I love you too. When are you taking me for dinner?
Ooh.
Listen, anytime. I mean, do I get to pick the restaurant? I'll let you. I don't mind. You know what? Ian looks like a man who has good taste. We'll keep that one for the After Hours podcast, Tom. You know what? Diving on into this one, the one thing I learned from that desk is that Kakuka's out of her goddamn mind. She's praying for a Phoenix. I can't get behind that.
Oh, Breeze as well. I want to. I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued how that will be made work.
What are the lineups?
I don't know. Obviously, Lothar's over the moon. He wants to see how much Angel has been watching his videos, of course. That's the main reason he's excited. Lothar does have some pretty mean clutches. I will admit that. But yeah, I think that this matchup I'm just going to refer to as an observer's nightmare, because you've got to try and keep up with Yoru and also a Neon at the same time. It's impossible. You're going to have multiple players being able to teleport. That's not a good idea. And you've also got Vipers. It's going to be very difficult to actually keep up with everything going on. And both teams have had some pretty drastic changes. So I'm excited to see what we're going to get coming through. I'm also intrigued to see how well Fade is actually going to work on such a large map. I think that's the main thing that people have sort of critiqued in the past is that, okay, Sova still has its uses because we want to see how far this utility can actually go.
No, as you said, the Observer's Nightmare is kicked off. And of course, you guys can follow our Observer, Zilv. Hit him up, Zilv OBS, over on Twitter. There you go.
All right.
Just had to get that one in. Give it a moment.
How much you pay you? That's the real question.
People are in the middle of opening other
okay.
windows and following and so on. They didn't see that, but Angel just got a kill against back. Now they're probably back. They've done that. We're ready to dive on in. A minute left on the clock as the plant comes in. FPX, they've got their site control. But I'll say ACEND here. They're gonna be blitzing on the artist. He's gonna be caught from a few different angles, and down he goes.
Even still, though.
Diffuse.
Time ticking on the spike, a relatively open plant for them as well, and I feel like it's going to be difficult to get back in. Starzo just looking to run it straight in towards the site, hoping to take that extra space. He will get the drop onto one player. Trade's coming back through, but now Starzo left 15 HP while Angel was in the back lines the whole time. It is going to be a pistol round for FPX and a solid start on their map choice.
Lovely stuff. 1-0. They certainly need it after the previous map. Kind of bounced back into it. Attack side of Breeze with the Yoru. I don't know what I can expect out of Angel. I mean, I know he knows how to play Yoru, and I know this map's good for Yoru. So there are a lot of opportunities, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm behind it.
It's how much of a one trick it is, because that was always the problem. Like, I'd still remember back on Guild them running it on Haven at one point, and I was like, this is really cool. Never worked again. People counted it by the next day. So that's always been the issue with this agent. As a sort of cheeky throw-in pick, it can definitely work, but in consistent tier 1 play, I don't know. I'm still waiting to see that. Even still, though, again, CNED on this chamber. On the defensive side, this is where he's going to be a menace, and already managing to get one in this round. Now, what we always talk about, 2 kills, anything more, that's a success for ACEND, and there's a few tagged up players already. In fact, Zeke's going to get it with the classic, and timing's going to be everything here. Completely caught with his pants down in Saigetsu, but he just about wins.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you're just right-clicking there. The panic sets in. It's not realizing that the other player was oblivious to his existence. Okay, that's a nice little cleanup. Even just Monster to do it by himself. We had 2 Angels running onto the site. The others just disappeared. The decoy of the Yoru. Here comes the real one to finish off the round. 2-0 on the board. Nicely done. I mean, look, they have lost 2 players, and if Saigetsu doesn't get that little angle and catch the 2 quickly, it certainly could have been a much more costly round for the attack.
Yeah, I think that was one of the most interesting things of sort of talking to Doombros is that the way he rates Saigetsu is basically higher than anyone else on this team, at least from the way he said it. Like, he was talking about his aim like he's 10s and all these different sort of hyperbole to sort of talk about a player that ultimately when he was picked up, we were surprised he was picked up. So he had a great last week, not the most fantastic first map, but I'm intrigued to see more of his Viper, because he's not played it a massive amount in his career, but I think it's definitely something in his wheelhouse.
There.
That's something. Oh! Right, so he goes down in the end at least. There's punishment there. The haunt through.
Spike
Not going to catch anyone, though. And so ACEND, they've got to pump the brakes on this one. Playing a little bit late, fast round, so of course Saigetsu still playing with 2 snake bites here. Strong post plant. From him, at least. Nobody else able to really contribute to that. They've got backside, they've got main, and it's going to be fought for on both sides by ACEND. That's a solid win inside of main. Now these players on side are really isolated. They've got the crossfire to play with, but once one's gone, the other, so easy to take down. They had them from all angles on that one. A really nice retake from ACEND, and well, the clock gets a little bit narrow, but luckily there was no real thorn in the side to deal with.
Yeah, and that was actually a lot more than just SMGs or anything of the sort going in. So although there's still going to be a buy for FPX, for that to come out with 3 players alive for ACEND is decent, because you were looking at Bulldogs, I think you had a Guardian in there, and even a couple of rifles. So yeah, not a bad round for ACEND, but now it's actually turning into something a little bit more. already going to have the ult online, the dimensional drift for Angel to try and take that extra space, and or as it was called on the desk, a glorified drone. But we'll see what Angel has in store for us.
Some noise up in mid. Angel's going to be going right up to take that angle. Got the control. Sand attempted to take it back a little bit, just clearing them outside of doors, but they've spotted there's players there. So they know well and truly they've lost mid. That control's being fought for. You're not even going to see this peek into elbow from Monster for a bit because he's worried that they're about to blitz up through the window. But as time goes on, you think, well, maybe they're going back, right? Maybe they're not here anymore. Maybe they're about to blitz. You need some information to play with. Monster will then peek, but it's a little bit late because they're already rushing out. They're on the side of A, and CNED's gone down.
Angel doing work just to take space, but it's ultimately the entries on the other side that are causing the major issues. Monster is going to take a risk, and he's caught. And now the remaining two, I think they just have to save this one, in all honesty. Like, Zeke has enough to drop a little bit extra back. That's the funny thing about some of these swaps. Like, Zeke playing a Sky is definitely not even anywhere near as surprising as everything else, especially because it's normally the agent that we see Vac on, but I guess you can't have both at the same time. But nonetheless, I feel like there's a lot of players that, at least more recently, have tried to flex onto Sky. I think Mix was probably the one that springs to mind, and it hasn't worked. So I'll be intrigued to see how it works for Zeke.
I just want to keep seeing these attack rounds out of Angel. I want to see past the gimmicks, you know, into the real plans. And I think, well, look, in that round right there, we pretty much did the ults, got them a whole bunch of space and info.
You ready to head into overdrive? That's the real question. I feel like there's no way to set up that ult without sounding like you're in some sort of American movie where, like, it's a Fast and Furious quote, basically. It's like, we're about to hit into overdrive. This is my second engine activating, but can you get anything done with it? Because it's an ult that a lot of the time has very little success. CNED, though, actually playing a hero rifle, that might be a bit more interesting.
Oh, okay, that's a full fight on mid from Starzo. Sort of looking at all the angles, figuring out how some of this Fade utility is being used up here. It's again being for a fight up in tube that, well, has certainly been won by Sagetsu. Door going to be opened up here. Seeker destroyed. Knows exactly where the Sky is now. Well, at least that she was down below, but he's worried now that could be coming up behind in the flank from the other side of the map. And there it is. CNED's caught them. Re-establishing the defensive lines. There's no one behind anymore. They've got the control, and they can focus on this site without being shot from an off angle, which certainly benefits them this time around. Very surprising round out of ACEND coming through with not a lot in their hands, and yet they make it work.
Yeah, I think it's even more worrying that because of that, CNED's been able to farm up the free win. So the Tour de Force is going to be available in this round, and that basically means this round is already set for ACEND, unfortunately, for FPX fans. Although there is a Tour de Force on the other side, so maybe you can counter the Tour de Force with the other Tour de Force to, well, force the other player into the ground. We'll see. I'm expecting this one to be fairly aggressive out of the likes of CNED. And on the other side of things, it looks like they might be setting up for a very fast A hit.
Oh, that's not the flash that they wanted, but it's
Blank
okay.
clear.
It still blinded people on site. It actually might have been the flash that they wanted in hindsight, because it would pop really quickly for the guy holding the corner with the Viper wall. The only thing is for someone close left. Maybe you'd want it to go further out. I'm not sure. Either way, they've got the site. They've got the plan. They've got the Viper spit down. Sagetsu's just picking them off. What's happening? This guy's just taking two headshots everywhere. Third, he popped down the Viper's pit and then just started swinging. Those kills were behind yellow, Tom. This guy was actually, I'm going to pit, and I'm killing all of them in spawn. Like, what? I'll leave that behind for you guys. That's crazy.
I feel like I'm getting some deja vu of just him, like, absolutely slaughtering people on this map. Like, I don't know why, it just sticks in my mind of, like, I feel like it maybe been a game that they lost. Yeah, it was when they played this map versus G2. and they lost 13-8, but he somehow still went 22-14 because he was just winning the rounds on pure individual brilliance on the Cypher. So this is definitely a pick that's been comfortable for him. Zeke still falling for the fake out. But the thing is, he's using that to then TP across and actually be in the spot he would have run to. So it's almost like selling it as a fake, like, oh, I've shot the fake out, and he's using that sound cue to move.
Oh, Zeke's tagged up here, and the nades forced him back. Well, ACEND sort of gradually gave that side up inch by inch.
Spike planted.
Now they've got to fight right back in, but this is the idea, right? This tour de force into position. Monster's gone down, unfortunately, and that's just less eyes to cover the back of CNED. But he's still going to be able to take those kills. Sagetsu more than enough to cover, taking down Vac and making this at least more of a competitive round, keeping the dream alive here for FPX. That is ridiculous. It just feels like these players have entered a new plane of existence. Xiao and Sagetsu in particular. Just robotic with the aim. Unbelievable.
CNED left without time. Just trying to do as much damage as he can here, but not going to be anything. Sagetsu with a couple. Xiao then stepping up as well. The depth of this FPX squad once again shining through, and 5-2 already on this attacking side. Look, he's 13-2.
It's absolutely surreal. You know, the difference from map 1 to map 2, I don't even know what to chalk it up to here, because we're seeing so many different levels from FPX. And to be honest, I don't think anything, you know, if I was to look at this on paper, I'd be like, oh, well, I mean, I guess Angel's like throwing a huge spanner in the works with the Yoru, and Yoru's been good. Look, there's like some interesting ideas there. Yeah, it's cool. But it hasn't been, you know, game-breaking, game-changing. Sagetsu especially off the charts. And this time out from ACEND, I'm interested to see what their adaptations are.
I feel like at the moment, Angel is playing this as like old Jet. You throw a smoke and you dash in. He's throwing a fake out and then he TPs in. And it's just like, either you have to deal with the fake out and, okay, hope that you hear the sound cue while you're shooting that he's TP'd in, because that's what he's using it. He's using it to mask the sound. But also, you're just consistently having to worry about it. And that's the same with the Jet. When you see a Jet dash into the site, the rest of the players are sat there focusing on the Jet, and everybody else gets more space. And that more space is going to players like Sagetsu, or in the last round, Xiao, where you can almost just... If you ignored Angel, it's a bigger problem, but you can't, so then they get space instead.
Decoy's running in, shot right away. Angel's on. Angel's in! They didn't know! Starzo got blindsided! Another flash and the backside secured. They've got the cross with the wall and an easy plant. That is ridiculous. Well, now that one is very much Yoru brilliance, but I know there's other sound cues going down. I mean, that's got to be ridiculous for Starzo, though.
A 4v3 retake, and
your fear.
It's not looking particularly good for them to get back into the site. Ardis going to avoid any of that utility. Xiao still sat at the back, and well, they've both been able to just fall into these passive positions. It means that look at where they currently are. Look at these angles that Zeke is trying to clear. He can't hear anything, so he has to almost just take his time. And well, he's going to catch someone as they exit, but at this point, round is already over. In fact, they're looking to try and hunt down CNED instead. That could be the op gone, and it is. Sagetsu not missing the shots, and while Zeke's given this a nice try, but ultimately it doesn't matter. And it genuinely is. Every time they shoot the fake out, that's the moment Angel TPs. So just because of the sound cue.
Yeah,
that's brilliant.
You can see it from Starzo's perspective. It takes a moment to connect the dots and realize that there could be someone there. I think it might have been the moment he swung around the corner. It could have been peripheral vision.
I think
that was the first indicator.
I think it was he stepped just before. That was the only reason that Starzo knew he was there. Otherwise, Angel would have got a free kill. And he still did.
I think from ACEND's perspective, you will start to connect the dots, but well, it's difficult to deal with. It's difficult to account for. We've got a low buy.
Where did Ardis just die? That was outside B, so that must have been a clip through the wall after pushing B main.
Yeah, so we saw Starzo at the start hugging the barrier, right? And I guess he just blitzed around it and one-shot him with a Sheriff, which is, you know, it's something.
Bring them down.
Maybe there's still an opportunity here. They've caught out Angel. Nice shots from Monster. So solid individually. Saigetsu and Shao once again called upon.
Take hold.
4 versus 2. Player trapped towards yellow. Saigetsu wants to punish, but he just can't overextend. A triple's found on his fade back. And now it's even numbers. Zeke's got a weapon to work with already. Done some legwork in this round here. And well, the Seekers are all he's got to work with. His teammate down, half HP on Saigetsu. Xiao full in the corner. Zeke's got the info. He knows where the players are. But no time here. He's got to speed it up. Needs to find one soon, and there it is. 4 HP left, 6 bullets, and 4 kills for Saigetsu to close this round. A 7th for FPX, closer than some of the previous, but the same result is found.
I don't even know what the record for kills and a half is, but I feel like we must be getting pretty close. Because he's got 18 already, and there's still a couple of rounds to go. He's just got robot aim. I'm not even sure Saigetsu's a real human at this point. I think it's just that Angel and Doom Bros created him in a lab, and he's just been made to hit headshots. Because, again, that was a round that, realistically, ACEND put themselves in a fantastic position, and it's just an instant double headshot.
Wow. Well, the kills are swinging back and forth, and we're seeing Artis picking up a double. Attempt to bring it back is CNET up top. He's been spotted. Angel knows exactly where he is.
I'm back.
And actually, they're gonna.
It's
Player standing.
Okay, it might not even matter that much, but the fact that he's just slipped Artis in there is fantastic.
It's literally his whole role is just selling misinformation. That's the whole game. It's whether you can read Angel better than he can read you, and I'm gonna tell you right now, you can't. Like that, you can't. Like this man has been doing it longer than anyone else in this server, that's for sure. It's just impossible to play against. It must be so infuriating. I imagine, honestly, Lothar's gonna have the fattest grin on his face when we get back. I feel like it might get to the point where FPX are gonna have to speed this one along, because in between the maps, Lothar's gonna need an hour and a half.
It's really something. You know, I didn't expect to come into this a huge fan of Yoru walking out, and maybe we can see different teams with different toolkits deal with it a little bit better. And I can't imagine the defensive side is going to be terribly weak, but certainly some of the value will dissipate. There's the teleport towards the back, and now they can't hear a thing. Well, at least
So
most
free.
of them. Vac can though. Vac knows, and he still gets taken down. Angel with a double, and clean as can be. The side is there. Zeke's 5 HP. This round looks to be FPX's as well.
Already up to 20 kills and a half. I almost want to see if there can be anything more for Saigetsu. The wraparound coming in from behind. Actually, no, Monster's going to catch him. That's the Viper's pit gone, but Xiao so fast on these trades. It's almost like if one falls, the other steps up in his place. 9-2 FPX. Utterly dominant. Like, I don't think there's been a moment in this game where ACEND really looked like they had an opportunity here. Shot down. I think also just the fact that the pacing of this has been so fast, Mitch. A lot of what ACEND want to do is get aggressive and take map control. But if by the time they've done that, they've already lost the other side of the map.
That's the thing.
Here.
I think solving for this, and that's why I said earlier when they called the pause, like I'd love to see what their adaptation is, because I don't even know what FPX are doing. Like this round, what's going to happen? Who knows? Like I don't know how to adapt to the intensely deep toolkit that FPX have brought to this map, and how familiar they clearly are with it. This is a game that they are just in control of. Right now, at least, they're commanding this attacking side. Things can change. CNED might be one to change it, That was almost the spike, Tom.
Cutting through.
Oh, they're looking to build into this B-side take once again. Ult-wise, not a lot online. And again, we're going to see this space taken. This time he is isolated by Zeke. Still caught up by the Haunt, though. They're knowledgeable of his position. Seen it. Oh, he's got the timing right, but he doesn't connect. Saigetsu won't give you a second chance. Not in this game. But Monster's pushing. He might have one for free. Can he get both? Yes, he can.
So close.
Well, they just keep on coming.
Player standing.
Monster side, a third is found to close this out. ACEND have done it. They've picked up 3.
Screen down.
Quite a long road ahead of them to get back in. Similar story as map 1 for FPX, but after the way we've just seen FPX dominate the context of some of these rounds, you know, I then start to wonder, and I guess in a way hope, was that their idea for Yoru? Was it the attack side? Because if it was the defense, this is over.
I think with those, I think with FPX, I think a lot of the ideas are always going to be the attack side. I think they just have the incredible executions, and they always have done. For the defensive side, I don't know. I think a lot of this is just going to be rotations. I think that's the best way that you can really use all of the gate crashes, is just to make sure that you can almost stack up one side of the map, and then you're right back in on the other.
Oh, up and in we go right away. The speed out of Starzo. He's on the side already. I'm not even sure they realize it, but he goes back around and then gets caught.
Spike down.
4
versus 2. Vac thinking about running through that wall, and that he does. So he's 40 HP, and Artis headshots him, so it doesn't matter. That's as clean as can be. CNED, Headhunter, 1 headshot, but Tom, that's his last bullet now in the chamber.
He needs 3 kills with 1 bullet, or he has to use another gun. And while Angel's going to headshot him through the corner of the wall, it is going to be 10-3. I think the nail in the coffin looking likely now is not even a plant to really write home about, or anything that's going to bolster this ACEND economy. All they can really hope for is, well, basically the same as last round, that CNED's going to hit a couple of shots.
I mean, it can happen. Is it going to happen every round to get them across that line?
Probably not.
No. You need so much here for ACEND. It's attack side, though. We'll see. They can pull it off. I think the advantage here is the fact that they don't have the pressure up against them. They can try here, and you know, the closer they make it, the better. Get more warmed up, back into the fundamentals. You can focus on coming into the second half. And if you lose, hey, map 3, you know, splits coming up. It's all good. You're in a nice enough spot to still make this attempt at the comeback the best mental position I think they could be in for it. But yeah, not the best economic position, because yeah, they'll get rolled in this round unless Cena gets something, and that's the fight to close him out. So everyone else is on classics, no armor. Good luck to them.
Yeah, even going to reposition to the back of site, looking to combine alongside Saigetsu, while getting past him alone has already been difficult enough this game. 11-3, flawless round, only really some armor damage done onto Artis, that's it. No other cost really created. And the thing is, in a lot of these rounds, we've seen minimal investments into what has been second rounds, and then just these repurchases, so that the bonus round is somewhat non-existent. So already you're going to see 2 rifles purchased into this one. In fact, there's a third on the Bulldog on Zipan. So again, it's not going to be anywhere near as easy as the sort of norm of bonus rounds that we see on other maps.
This is something special for the attack side. ACEND. Oh, they could be in danger with Artis coming up. Vandal in hand. Zeke had a knife for that gunfight. ACEND down a man already. And they've got practically nothing to show for it. You know, they've pushed up towards mid, but they're very much accounting for that on the FPX side. In fact, Angel wants them to take this fight, take that angle. And only that he was caught transitioning, I think that would have been a much more deadly outcome.
Switch back, trying to find a little bit of extra information, but there's still the KO knife's not pretty for Monster, but job done. Angel will fall, and actually CNED has used this to take quite a bit of space. This now leaves Xiao basically surrounded, and Starzo picking off one of the players rotating. I don't know how he gets out of this with anything, and in fact, CNED puts him in the dirt.
Not your best.
Kill for Artis. Again, a lot of the time this round is going to be about damage, and the economy's still healthy enough for most of FPX that I think it very much is at the moment.
Yeah.
But with the 2v3, it's winnable. That just adds the extra layer. You know these guys are going to go for it, and that's why Ascend are tucked in. They don't want to overface in these fights and give them that kill that spurs them into the site immediately. Turns the clock into more of a friend for this retake. FPX, so much ground to cover and no information, right? And Ascend, well, all right, first kill's theirs, but Artis going to be caught as well. 11-4, and Ascend have a round that they needed, but Tom, it wasn't convincing.
No, and this is the thing. Like, FPX have been doing this throughout the series, where their bonus rounds are much stronger than anyone else's, and it doesn't seem like there's even that much of a detriment going into the next. Okay, some lower shields, but utility all seems to be there as well on their side, and well, it's basically do or die for Ascend. They've absolutely got to win this round, and if anything, they've come in with a slightly, very slightly worse purchase.
I like the fact that Ascend aren't pushing anything and they're holding. They're about to catch a fight on Angel if the timing's right, and that could have been a kill.
I think they were waiting to get Nightfall. That was the only plan. Get the orb, get Nightfall, and then think what you're actually going to utilize that ultimate for. To take space on within B? Is it to find information, sell a fake? The only ult close on the other side is the tour de force for Artis, but he needs a kill for that.
Oh, that kill. They're going to instantly blitz on through. Angel.
Face your fear!
There's the fake. And he's able to deal some damage, take a kill, but how much more? Good spray for some more damage. Peppering them up on the way through. Oh, he even gets another. The damage done to CNED makes it easy. A wall bang from Sugetsu. One bullet to take him down. And now Ascend are in trouble. That's a huge hold by Angel, but Monster's going to step it up on the other side and try to bring this one into Ascend's favor.
The question is, do they know that Zeke's still within the site? He's holding the cross, and instant headshot onto Xiao. It leaves Sugetsu, the star of the show so far, to try and clutch things out and bring them to 12. Passive cross, a flash as well, just to try and deter, and only 6 bullets within the clip, and they're going to peek him at the same time. Solid work from Ascend to make sure that one didn't slip away.
Yeah, really nice. And Monster with the quick peek, I think he did a fantastic job of realizing that, yes, they were getting the spike down and they could play their post plant, but the reality was if they play that 2v3 post plant, they lose that the majority of the time. If they go back passive, play towards main. He went forward, he took the kill, and then goes back. And I think if he doesn't find that, if Artis doesn't go down on the way back through, the round again can flip on its head immediately, and I see them at a disadvantage. But that kill right there, it pushed them forward in it. And sometimes you've got to take that little step forward into danger to get your team across the line. Like this from Angel. Oh, he's going right in! And he's got success on the first, even a second! A Sheriff! And that's all this man needs!
Oh, the TikTok play is being thrown out. A flash and TP into the site, but he's delayed them. And the perfect thing about this is now they're locked in. You got the tour de force coming through from behind. Obviously, CNED going down means the chamber trap isn't holding anything anymore. Now, they're going to throw in the Viper's Pit. That might actually help them out, but it means if anybody tries to escape through this backline, they're going to be in trouble. Instead, they're going to have to try and get that little bit more aggressive. Starzo watching that flank, but also watching if anybody sneaks through. And he's found Xiao dead to rights, looking for a little more. Vac has found one through the wall. Even still, though, it's close.
It was a good trade back by Sugetsu, but it's about what else they have. How else do you get back in here? And short of Artis charging up to attempt to take them down, I think grabbing that weapon, getting out of here, it's the right play. Sugetsu, I'm a little bit more curious about. I don't know. He was going back towards mid, but now he's moving back into spawn. And the thing is, with the Sheriff, I thought he wants to link up with Artis, right? Play this one as a unit, but he's very much looking to take some of these picks and some of the space himself.
Yeah, they're definitely going to be going for this, though. Finance is in such a good spot for the next round anyway, so might as well take the risk and try and get back through. He's also found a rifle on the way, so both players now, and okay, there's still after-plant utility for Ascend, but if they make too much of an overpeak, they might just give it away. That's so well played by Vac, though. The Haunt just used as a fake to give him that extra peek. Again, a little bit too close for comfort, and again, you see the value that Yoru's throwing through. But I think the most important thing is that Ascend are able to stabilize in both scenarios.
Well, that's it. Ultimately, there were a couple of spanners thrown in the works here. A few things they weren't quite expecting. That Yoru play really just catching them off guard, catching all of us off guard, I think. 17-9, and I guess that's the danger when Angel's feeling this good. He's already showing that, you know, the Yoru is popping off for him. That's the same teleport. I think probably even going to fake it out this round. I'd be very surprised if he goes for it, because surely Ascend are expecting some aggression. And indeed, look at these two players, like they're just tucked in. They're like, where's he going to go? Where's the flash going to be? The teleport? I don't know. They've cleared it all out. Nothing's afoot over here. And all right. The previous round's play, I guess, bought them an extra couple of seconds at the start of this round as well.
Yeah, I think also Ascend are just being a little bit more patient. Just making sure that they're not going to be caught out as easily. Thinking of popping the ult. Now, of course, that will give a lot of information. That's the thing. Like it may be a slightly more expensive Sova drone, but it also lasts quite a bit longer, and he's going to spot them all running back in the direction of that A side. That means they can stack this up and have 3 players here.
But Ascend aren't going. They're moving all the way back, flashing it up, faking it out, even grabbing the rotation of Artis. And now some of the players are just arriving towards the site, but Sagetsu still has the utility online. Snakebite and the orb down. Nobody can help out. Starzo made it through, but goes down. The extra snake bite. Oh, it doesn't actually manage to lock Monster out, and with low HP, Sagetsu's in danger. Down goes the orb. The rest of the team comes flooding through. Another hero needs to step it up. A flash out of Angel, but he runs into Monster.
Can't use that.
These two in clutch scenarios have had a huge success rate so far. The rounds that have been there on the other side. It's gonna get pinged though. Xiao will find back, and now it's left onto the new boy Monster to try and give them that little bit of extra hope. An instant headshot onto Xiao, his 3rd kill of the round, an aggressive position. It's that 1v1, and Monster's gonna take it. I know there was a little bit of a grudge match between these two going into the day. Artist saying he was gonna knife him, but when it comes to the 1v2, it's Monster on top.
4 rounds between them. This has been an impressive comeback from Ascend. It looked like a very long road, and some of these rounds have been very close. But FPX, they're not able to get it across the line. There's always that extra player to step it up. Monster dominating, and I think FPX, well, they've called a pause at a good time, because this is now a game again. All of a sudden, you lose this round, this coming by round, that is, and you are practically neck and neck. They do not want to be back in that spot after what was looking like an absolutely dominant map to get them back into the series.
Yeah, it's the game of Vipers, I guess. Both players, and a lot of it, I wouldn't even say is necessarily down to Viper utility. It's just the clutch potential, the headshots that both of them are hitting, and well, for Monster, that round could be all the difference. And that's the thing, we've had a couple now where it's him and Vac in these sort of like 2v2s, 2v3s, whatever, and they've been winning them. Once the spike is down, it seems like the synergy between the new players within the roster is actually pretty damn solid, which is what we always give credit to Ascend for. It's like, okay, in terms of depth of strategy and ideas, maybe it's a little weaker than some of the other squads. But in terms of playing off of each other, individual brilliance, and just the sort of fundamentals of Valorant, best of the best.
It's 3 players. That is a ton of information to work with. Ascend don't seem too deterred, though. They're still grouped up outside of here, despite all the numbers from FPX rotating in. It's going to be a little bit scary if this man was not just blitzing around the site. I think it's something harder to hit than a Neon when you've got a Sheriff blitzing around a corner like that. It's next to impossible. That's 4 kills. Ceasefire, god damn it! Give him the ace! All right, Monsters had a good game. You know what? Monsters had a good game so far.
Monster's
We'll give it
also
to
a
him.
massive troll, so I'm almost certain that he saw the 4K and was like,
I'm getting this.
Well, I'm denying this. Did you see my 4K last round? I ain't giving you an eco ace to overshadow what I just did. No, no, no. And the thing is as well now is Stars is going to do it with the classic.
Oh.
So it's a little bit tougher. I get to. Denied.
Then CNET steps in. See, that's a good teammate. He steps off the side and says, go on, son. You know, live your life. Be the main character. I'll listen. I'll close it out if we need it. And it really is. Look at all these guys. They're like, right, I'm going to swing. I'm going to aim at head height. I'm going to just grab this headshot as they come around the corner. Doesn't matter if I get one and I die. It's an eco, just headshots, right? And they swing, and there's a guy just sliding across the floor, spraying them down, just being electrocuted. It's you know, it's an understandable way to go. Big farming round for Ascend. They're 11-8 now. Here's the buy for FPX. Here's where things really matter. Already, Artis has denied his early peek indoors, and that's going to be Ascend with free mid control. They haven't even fought for it. They haven't put anyone there, but they've got free mid control. A little stun.
I like the stun. I think that's definitely the most exciting piece of kit when it comes to Neon, and probably the one that we didn't necessarily expect when you see the launch of that agent. But solid start from him. Artis going to fall back towards the pyramids just to try and still have that more aggressive stance. The thing is, though, this round, especially in comparison to some of the others, has been a lot more passive, although it seems, well, it did seem like Angel was going to get a little bit cheeky, but instead, just waiting things out. And Ascend are more than happy to oblige.
Face your fear!
Oh, here we go. Push coming through. They've at least cordoned off the mid push. Now only need to look forward, but Zipman goes down. Artis not able to land anything. And this is starting to look very scary. Monsters just W keyed out on them and taking them down. Zipman's not going to get rezzed up. They're even watching for someone coming up here ready to react to it. And he'll eventually fall. 3 versus 4. Ascend have got the advantage and a Viper's pit down on the spike, Tom.
Yeah, that's the great thing of having a Viper popping off. You can just have your Viper's pit every couple of rounds. Zeke is waiting on the edge. Timing is sublime. The pop straight out. 2 dropped off it. And well, I get to again, but he's just so good. Another couple back. Maybe even on the 30 bomb. On the edge, he spawed it out, seen it, and he's done some damage along the way. The thing is, though, Monster is just being patient. Just waiting on the edge. There should be no chance. The second he even touches that pit, his head explodes.
I did not think we would end up with a scoreline this close. The first map was phenomenal from Ascend. But after that first half, and I think you very much see what we talked about at the halftime, which was like, was that where all their plans were for this Yoru? Was it the attack? And yes, the value was 100 times on the attack.
There's a lot less you can do. Because ultimately there's only a couple of avenues where you can push into with this agent that wouldn't just be madness or just incredibly aggressive. So yeah, the value is made on that attacker side, but now there needs to be someone else. I think another thing we didn't really have to highlight in the first half, but is worth doing now, is Zipman's having an incredibly quiet game, which for him is rare, but it is noticeable now.
Yeah. But it really stresses how an uncomfortable team, even a team like Ascend, in that first half where they're not used to what you're doing and it's just an uncomfortable game, they can look weak. But wow. But they are not weak. They will come back into them. Now heals can come through. Maybe.
Oh, it's the only player he would have killed with that shot as well.
But he was like running and hit him through the wall, man. He wasn't even aiming at him. That's just ridiculous. Pop flash a haunt. Oh, I thought the haunt was on the flash. It's coming out late, but it's still going to catch them. They caught them all, but nobody's there to follow up with the weaker weapons. Unfortunately, it just ain't that easy.
Whoa.
Okay.
The Guardians are doing work. Showers come up with another. Somehow it's left all onto Vac, and this time there is no clutch. Out of all the rounds for FPX to take, it's actually the Thrifty with some weaker weaponry, some Guardians thrown in just because of the extra credits. And now they've put themselves on match point. It's taken a lot longer to get here. He just shoots the wall. That's all he does. Just shoots the wall.
Pinpoint accurate. That is something. What a shot. You're probably going to be sat there wondering, wow, how did he get me? If you're Starzo, well, he's going to watch this back later and be just as confused. And even more annoyed, actually. Another haunt up mid. I like this strat. They've seen the player inside. Yeah, they definitely have. And they know where he's going.
Back to site goes Angel. CNED. Careful here. Xiao looking a little cheeky, but he's got back to back him up. Well, they're going to exchange Prowlers. Battle of the operators, a fearsome one at that. CNED versus Artist, two of the best, and it is almost just a standoff, waiting for someone to peek. And well, they definitely can't see what we see, how close they are to almost just facing into each other's crosshair. The rest of the team's starting to set up, but Artist has won that duel, an important one at that.
Close. The peppering up. Starzo will be finished off from down the bottom of mid, and well, they've actually caught Zipan again. He's wrong place, wrong time. Xiao still holding strong, but only good for one. Vac up close though. This could make it up over on the attacking side. He's not expecting Sugetsu. They just walk on the other side. That's the spike down, and well, I think that might be the map, Tom.
He's just put his Viper's Pit on the spike. Just he put a snake bite within it. So if anybody tried to run through, he's a grotesque player. Absolutely grotesque.
Trap card.
Such an amazing performance from Sugetsu and such a fun map to watch. Like, I'll be honest, there are a lot of games, Icebox, where things are quite stale. I see it again and again. Well, that was something completely new. And from both sides, there were things I enjoyed. I think versus any other attack, I think that we see ACEND do a lot better on that defensive side. I think it was just a masterclass of attack coming out of the likes of FPX.
Did I see 35 and 10 for Sugetsu in the end? Was it
Something
him?
like that.
It was
definitely over like 32, but either way, I think by that point you just go, yeah, but he had a good game.
Unreal stuff. Well, let's see who's going to have a good game on map number 3. I'm hoping that we get another close one. Both teams stepping it up. Maybe some Yoru's in there. Who knows? We'll catch you guys after the break to find out.
Welcome back to VCT EMEA Challenges Week 5. Well, FPX leveled the score 1 apiece and will take ACEND to a final map. That's what you wanted, right? We told you, do not sleep on Week 5. We are bringing it all for you this weekend. My name's Ian Chambers on the desk with Lothar and Kakuka. Kakuka, it looked... Sorry. Kakuka. It looked at one point that it was going to be a breeze for FPX, no pun intended. And
Jesus, you and Lothar on the desk. I'm going to have the weekend of a lifetime.
Worst one, absolutely worst one.
it's going to go so slowly for you. But ACEND, they went out kicking and screaming. It looked like there was going to be a comeback at one point, and there were some really strong individual performances across the board.
You could say that they were in a bind.
Oh, you could say that. I like that, Lothar.
Is that enough? Can I
Yeah,
say
yes,
that? Okay,
please,
let's
please
talk
go.
about Breeze. Let's talk about actually what happened here. Of course, FPX deciding to go onto this map. We saw all the innovation, all the things that FPX, tease us about sometimes. But where ACEND waiting Angel on the Yoru, Artist on the Chamber. Also for FPX to bring the fade in, seeing this map without having, he gets to over 400 ACS. I mean, he did have like an insane amount of kills, didn't he?
I mean, it's insane. What the hell are we witnessing here? Like, Sugetsu is 35 kills. That's absolutely mental. He's like 2 first kills, 0 first deaths. It's, I don't know. It's like one of the best performances, if not best performance of Sugetsu overall.
Yeah,
and it's against ACEND. Like, he was just diffing players left and right.
Yeah, completely. Also, what I wanted to say is, like, it's surprising to see this map played without Sova versus Sova, because the amount of information that you gather from that agent is so pivotal. But the game that Angel gave us, I do not know how FPX managed to do the same execute so many times. Like, the problem is they got completely into ACEND's head. The sound, everything that was a sound cue, it was also an action for FPX to go onto the sides. You talk about first kills, Angel ended up with 7, and actually, give us a little bit of what intends to do when he's playing on things like an Omen.
And also, unfortunately, FPX couldn't close out the map because they were having problems with just converting advantages. Out of 11 rounds, when they started 5v4, they only won 6. Like that was a big issue when they overpushed, like a little bit overstayed the welcome when they had an advantage. But you raised a very good point about the fade, because for ACEND on attack, it was very obvious that when they wanted to do an execution, the speed of the execution was not being synergized with the fade, let's say, speed of utility herself, because it's the limited range. And Starks was like, phew, 2 kilometers away, you know, from that fade utility, and he was faster than everyone else.
You also add that Zeke is going to be playing on that Sky, so you don't have that extra control, or more like the extra information that Akayo, for example, is going to bring to you. Also, it was the first time that ACEND was playing with that fade, so can we actually say, like, the Xiao, Dift, VAC is kind of complicated, you know, it's the first time that you actually tried the agent itself. So you talk about converting those rounds. Actually, in 22 rounds, ACEND only had 5 first kills out of the 9 rounds that they converted. So I think that for FPX, it's still a lot of surprises, a lot of good things to see on the way. So I'm really looking forward for map 3.
I mean, Lothar already touched on Sugatsu and how incredible he was on that map there. What a stellar performance from him. I feel like we can't say enough about this player. Look at those numbers, Kakuka.
The damage per round, 246. What am I seeing on the screen? A KDA of 4.4. He delivered last week. He delivered on map 1, and he is back from map 2. I do not know what Sugetsu is going to be playing on that split. Maybe they go back to old compositions. I do not know, but you know what? I don't care, because he doesn't need a duelist to pop off.
Incredible.
He had a bigger difference between his kills and deaths than some of the players had kills and deaths combined. Like, he was plus 25. He was 35 kills and 10 deaths. It's unreal.
I cannot wait to see more of him on the final map. But before we get there, Lothar, get yourself over.
Yeah, you know what I'm going to do, right?
Give us a focus on Yoru. Why not?
Tom was talking about it, that I have the grin on my face, on my face, and I did have it because it's actually super fun to watch Yoru on Breeze, and I will explain you why also. And also counter Tom's point about not being flexible on defense. He's super flexible on defense. But let's talk about first about the attack on the side of Breeze. So what we have seen so far from Angel on the mid, we have seen a teleport that just goes into mid control here when there's a pinch coming in from elbow, which was even in the pistol round being made, and then he stayed on mid to just kind of lurk. Another one was just a standard TP into side combined with a fake out, so which essentially is like there's a fake out going in alongside the TP, then there's a flash happening either on this side here or this side here, and then the TP happens and Yoru has the control of that backside. But after that, we have seen Angel do a second TP that goes behind yellow so he can reposition without being exposed in that space. That was the A side. Then B side was a little bit more flexible because we have seen 2 lineups. One lineup was going towards behind the broken wall, which was something that did caught off guard many people from ACEND in the beginning, because you also have to check it. Like, if you're hiding backside on B in this spot, you have to peek to check if he's actually there or if it's not a fake. Although we didn't see a lot of fakes from Angel being done, which is, remember, Yoru can just fake, the TP is different, there's just splashes of like blue paint, and it stays for 30 seconds to someone to know that this was a fake. Another lineup that we have seen is just on the left side of B, and that is also a push that we have seen from the Yoru, and typically all of those combined with the pressure being done by the rest of the team is very similar to the jet push, but you have a more immediate action with the flashes, which is very nice. Now, something, if you're wondering what else can a Yoru do on attack, is you can also have a lineup that goes through holes straight up to the spawn, to this point, and that allows you to be more of a lurker. But on defense, we have seen Angel only use the tools at his disposal for faster rotations, from like backside B to backside A, essentially, to spawn, and vice versa. But in general, you can be a more of a lurker. We have seen that once when a short range TP allowed Yoru to go through B main towards the back of the opponents. After the flash, he gets a double kill. But another lineup that you can do is actually something at the beginning of the round that goes like this. and you can avoid a chamber trap that is typically being put in this area, so you can flank and rotate against a full execute on A side, which is nuts, but also you can do it from the other side of the map, where you can just stand at the barrier and you can TP into this side of spawn, which also avoids the chamber trap, and you can then flank towards the window. So there's really a lot of flexibility in this agent. It's one of those agents that you can just kind of like clay, put it into like a, let's say, I don't know, jar or something, whatever shape you want to do it. You can just flex whatever you want with this agent.
So the importance out of all of this, out of everything that Lothar just said, is that this doesn't have to be a one-time thing. We've seen FPX changing that Euro after the first time, but there's no need to actually do that. And the amount of presence that they had throughout the entire map. You have a KO, you have a chamber that is going to grant the information, you have a chamber that is going to be looking actively for that first duel. You also have that Euro that is going to create that false sense of security on the other side.
Well, we're going to a third and final map. Kakuka, Split. You wanted it, you got it.
Oh yeah, I'm very happy because this is the only map this stage that we have yet to see for FPX. I expect something crazy. I don't know if we're going to see Euro, but you know, actually, before I forget, I heard that Mitch thought I was crazy for saying that I wanted a Phoenix on Breeze. I thought that he was a real paper boy, because Paper Rex played triple duelist with Raze, Reyna, and Phoenix on that map. So what are you doing, Mitch, man? Anyway, going back onto Split, we know that this has been kind of the second home ground for ACEND, and definitely for a very long time, extremely strong map. One where they have decided to just keep the same composition going in. But after what happened last week against G2, I do not know if that's going to change.
Well, you saying that it was like a, let's say, a trademark map for ACEND. But for me, that was when Bonkold was still in the team.
Oh, and the one-ways.
The one-ways, from the Omen, they actually shaped the way that Split can be played very efficiently on defense. And from the moment that Bonkold has gone from the team, we don't see the same kind of efficiency that could have been done, like with the previous roster, with the new roster, which puts a dent in the plan for this team, while FPX, well, you could say that Split is one of the strongest maps as well. They have, so far in this season, 4-0 on this map, and they actually
on the previous season.
Well, yeah,
but it is important to mention, because we know all the problems that FPX had during the first season, and even with that, I think this was actually the map that they 13-0 Fnatic, wasn't it?
Yes,
with Angel on Jet. Oh, you missed out.
It sounds like it. Now, listen, chat, there is a slight delay on getting into Agent Select. We will get there down the road. And just a reminder, this third and final map dictates who finishes second in Group A, which of course affects the seeding going into the playoffs, which brings me on to my next question.
Look, if I have to fill, I can do another illustrator for you.
No, you stay here. You stay here. We've had enough of your sexy Valorant brain, and I'm kidding. Plenty more of that to come. But are we seeing these teams perform at their absolute highest ability and showing, you know, their ultimate strats here, or are we seeing a more reserved style of play from both these sides who, you know, are locked into the playoffs?
I'm very happy with the level that we just saw on Breeze. I think that Split is going to be a little bit more of the same. And with ACEND, with FPX banning ACEND as their final decision, I expect to see that Fade coming in. I want to see a Zippen that is actually performing. He was not there on Bind. He was not there on Breeze. This stage, he's being like the quiet one out of FPX. Kind of complicated also to pop off when your teammates are on 400 ACS. But if he's going to be matching up against the double duelist that we expect coming in from ACEND, he needs to perform.
You know what's funny is that both teams have a very similar situation. Zippen is on the quieter side, but also ACEND is on the quieter side as well. Like, those two are not performing to their own previous levels. Okay, with ACEND on Chamber, yeah, I like that. The thing is, this map doesn't deliver the same kind of amount of freedom when it comes to like the players' like agency, because on Breeze you had so much space to create like different stuff. But here, this is more like, let's say, designed to have the utility that can stop a push. This is why you can see the Sage, this is why you see the Raze. All of that utility is super valuable, but we have super defensive setup for ACEND.
Yeah, I mean, they're starting on the defense. They know how strong they are. When G2 started on the defense, they demolished them. They knew that part of it was the way that Mixwell was performing on the chamber scene. It's feeling comfortable. He wants to win those duels. I want to see also the executes coming in from Shao. The trio of Breach, Raze, and Fade is insanely strong, and there is going to be extremely needed for this attack.
So when I was, if you guys remember, first week, and I was talking about how Fade can synergize with a lot of agents, Breach and Raze are perfect for her, because as seize and an aftershock or paint shells are essentially destroying a player. And it's there's so many.
Oh, I didn't see that's a Sarkso going on the race. I'm gonna wear my glasses.
No, it's okay. Sarkso's playing a lot of Raze lately, you know.
Yeah, I'm happy. Sorry.
Zeke is like now a mainstay, I guess, controller, you know, but he's super flex, so I guess that's fine. But yeah, FPX with this comp, if you synergize those 3 agents together, they can single-handedly just kill one person without even seeing that person.
Who's taking it, guys?
I say that Cena's gonna pop off and Ascend is gonna take it.
I say FPX.
Okay,
I'd like to disagree.
I can tell. All right, it's the final map. Who is securing that second place spot in Group A? It is time to go to Split for the culmination of this wonderful series with Mitch and Tom. Take it away, guys.
Thank you so much, Ian. Well, Tom, you know, there was a lot said there. I mean, we heard a lot from Lothar's brain. I'll leave it at just that. For myself, though, the highlight had to be Paper X being brought up, as it always is, a true paper boy.
You're a paper traitor.
And I just thought it was hilarious that we're trying to justify the fact that they were playing Phoenix. Let's dive through it. They played Astro Breach Neon on the first iteration of Breeze. Then they moved on to Viper KO Yoru. Then they swapped that out for Brim Phoenix.
Surely you should know it from memory as a true paper
Swapping
boy.
their Chamber for Arena as well. This team has been swapping their Breeze comp every game. At least 3 agents, 4 in the game where they played Phoenix, because they're playing through APAC. And they're destroying everybody. Paper X don't need to even play an agent that's justifiable in this game, which is why they pulled out Phoenix on Breeze.
Well, we're in EMEA. That was the daily message from the paper traitor. And now we're going to go looking into what is going to happen on this map. More excitingly, Split. We've seen a couple of long ones here, Mitch, and honestly, I wouldn't be necessarily surprised if we saw another artist going to be back on that pure util role, and a very aggressive start out of the likes of Zipan straight in towards this Visa.
Looks like we're going to have quite the pace here. Right-click nade through. Zipan already on the backside, but his teammates are only now coming up to meet him. No wall across to help them. This is going to be a little bit of a tougher one for them, but FPX, well, they've got some plans to split up, and Xiao's able to take them from above. 3 quick kills and a very fast pistol for FPX, absolutely overwhelming their opponents. That's what we like to see. You know, this split attack is what we talked about versus G2. Ascend started on the attack, and they had that horrendous run, losing out the map, bombing out of the map. They just couldn't recover from the first half. But then we're seeing them now have this as the decider, where they get to start on the defense. That's huge for them, you would think, but at least FPX have their foot in the door with the pistol.
Yeah, I think, well, maybe not so much in recent history, but in the past, for FPX, this was an attacking side map, which for the majority of teams might sound weird, but they always had some very impressive executions. We would talk about every round where Angel would basically pressure into mid. That was the strat. So this is somewhere where I think FPX actually feel incredibly comfortable, and it's almost up to Ascend to dislodge them a little bit. And I think a lot of that will come down to someone like CNED with a lot of those more aggressive early pushes, and I think that might be one of the reasons why Starzo's actually taken up more of that duelist role, because the man has no fear. You saw in the last map, okay, he didn't have the greatest statistics, but he is more than happy to just run at you, and I think the way that you can play Raze on the defensive side of this map, that really works for them.
Smoke up and play in. Let's see what Ascend can do with a classic. I'm not sure much is going to work for them here. Oh, nice. Good start for Zeke. A little bit more damage would be fantastic on the way back through, but already using up that nade. I think they're going to have to rely on grabbing exits. The good thing is it's decently easy to contain these players. If they can manage to maybe deal with Sugetsu, if they spot that he's around here, they could try isolate him, and then they've got them completely locked in. But of course, you've only got classics, and from this point, to be honest, even 1 kill would be decent. Especially, honestly, if they stop Sugetsu from picking up anything that was dropped, that's even better. Keep him on a ghost.
Just trying to lock at this point. Nade thrown out, but not really going to catch anything. And in fact, I think the remainder at this point are just going to go down to the spike. They've already completely left and just bailed out for that control. It seems like Monster's still trying to get himself a kill here. For Sugetsu, he's looking to farm. It's almost intriguing because he has one of the ultimates that realistically I don't think is going to be that crucial for the next. I would have almost liked to see him just take the rifle, give the pistol to someone else, and let them farm up those orbs.
You do know Kakuka's on desk, and you're talking about the...
I think she's
Some of the
preoccupied with what you said, that it doesn't really matter at this stage.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? You feel free. Go back through Paper X's Breeze maps. See all those comp shifts. You know, you tell me that's the new meta.
So Mitch believes in Phoenix on Breeze, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, I think you are deaf. Legally. I think you need help. So sort yourself out. Right. We got FPX going for an interesting strat. We talked so much, or we used to talk so much about how Angel loved, like when he was a Brimmy, taking over control of vents. He was always getting in there. Well, this time around, that's certainly not going to be happening.
There.
Still trying to get something back from this round. Like, as always, FPX have put a little bit extra into this one. So those rifles do add a little bit of extra danger here. Vak's got to be careful. Already being spotted. It might be able to isolate the duel. And you can see Zipan's more than prepared for somebody to be around the corner. The stun is nigh on perfect, but the trade from Zeke makes it even tougher for the remaining players. The steps being heard and Zeke being isolated at the back of site. There's actually an opportunity here. I thought the swing might come out from heaven a little sooner. Instead, Artist now gets one more. And it's left all on to Monster. A 1 versus 2.
No idea that Artist is down below. Wow. That round was all Artist's. You know, you said you thought the peak would come out of heaven sooner. It tried to. Vak took a little peek and his head got ripped clean off. It was Artist picking up kill after kill. And I have to say, that was literally him pulling it across the line at the end there. They already had a good round under their belt. Let's not get that mistaken. But that third on the board, Artists and ACEND now really in the dumps. They've got pistols to play with, not a whole bunch else. Maybe you can make it work here on split, but we'll see. The thing is, when you look at FPX's comp, they have so much to clear corners, push you out, and make sure that they're not ever caught in like a, you know, a shorty up close, surprising them or anything like that.
Well, yeah, I think the Warriors, well, they've also got an awful lot of delay tactics. Like, you can have those one-ways. You can still have yourself the information being found by Xiao. You still have a Cypher and a Breach as well. So it's not like I think things are going to get any easier in the second half. In fact, as it was said on the desk, if anything, it might get worse. So the fact that this is already 4-0, I hate to say it, but we're already getting into the realms of this map being out of the control of ACEND.
It's sort of difficult to believe, because I want to look at the G2 game and again say, well, actually it was because they started an attack, but now we're seeing their defense, and I have to say, you know, FPX seem to be having a pretty easy time with this on the raid plan. They don't seem to be meeting too many hurdles.
8-0 on Breach. Like, yes, they're having a very easy time.
This is where it could get more difficult, though, and it's CNED whenever this man is an operator to play with, but he's on the other side of the map. It's Zeke and Starzo that have to hold off, and they do a damn good job stopping this push completely.
Oh, not going to allow for the lurk of Saigetsu either. And more importantly, denying the ultimate. The Rolling Thunder gets absolutely nothing. The nade thrown by Starzo does well to slow them down. And now, well, Artist and Xiao, I believe they're the two players that are actually yet to die. So I think that's going to be something that changes in this round.
Tempting face, I see.
Of course.
Well, the clear is not going to get him anything here. And it feels like for FPX, oh, okay, they're going to run into CNED. Round is over then. Fair enough. He's even got a TP to get out of there. So that's a free kill and then out. First death for Artist. There it is. You just know it. Very few players walk into that man's scope and walk out. And there you go, closed out. ACEND with their first round on the defensive side. Very much needed. Surprisingly, flawlessly. Now, you're not going to find two players rushing into site like that again, but this is foot in the door. They still have so much more to do, though, because as we said, FPX built up that econ. They've got so much money.
Yeah, I think the fact that they deny the round with the Rolling Thunder as well is important. Like, solid nade, Zeke just being able to get ahead of it and deny. And while now there's not really any ultimates at all, in fact, over on the FPX side, at least not ones that you can't just use reactively. On the other side of things, Tour de Force not going to be used. CNED already has himself an operator. It wouldn't make much sense. And Zipan, this is the sort of style we wanted to see out from him. Just blitzing forward. Zipan Go Kill is back in action.
I know.
And well, already getting the opener for the squad.
Oh no! That could not have gone any worse for Zeke. Into the Boombot, into Artist right afterwards, and Ascend. Well, they've crumbled in the round following.
Player standing. Spike planted.
Just CNED left. He started this round towards A, and he can't even get his way into heaven. Instead, save is called for. It's pulled out immediately. Angel's trying to hunt him down, has at least found him, and the rest of the team, well, as we said, they are not short on funds. Even after buying up into this round, they're going to be hunting him down, looking to spend everything to make sure that he walks out of this with nothing. A teleport used, and he almost gets dropped there and then. Even still, no escape, no solitude to be found, and no operator for Ascend coming into this round.
I think the thing I'm really enjoying, and it's similarly when we saw Na'Vi switch up the pace on that Haven game, I was just so excited because it was more of these sort of executions that actually looked really good for them. And I think FPX have done something similar today where we're used to this almost slow, methodical style a lot of the time, and they're throwing in a lot of really quick rounds. I don't think teams are used to it. A lot of it just comes back off a stun, and then you have the likes of Zipan basically just going for these opening picks. But that's the thing. If you use a lot of your utility to set up someone like Zipan, I think 9 times out of 10, he's going to get you that kill.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assumption. We've seen it from him time and time again. Look who's inside of Vents. Good old Angel. He's got the control.
We're back like he never left.
Yeah, like the good old days. Actually, even better because he's really faking it out, using those shrouded steps to make some noise, cause some confusion. I guess similar to what we saw going down over on the Yoru. He likes to mess with your head a little bit. But, you know, because they've got lots of traps there, got basically 1.5 Sentinels on the A side. They're pretty content that they've got control and nothing funky's going on. They play retake up in Heaven on B.
This is a nice round. I like this from Ascend. Delay the early control, which has been something Zipan's been fighting for. Claim B control for the majority of the round, then fall back. Still have these smokes that they've got to try and push through. This is going to be a very difficult take. And with Zeke just waiting on the other side and having the support of basically his entire team, it's going to have to be some really crispy entries on the other side. Instead, it's an absolute slaughter.
Last player standing.
Even throw in that showstopper just to make sure. Starzo closing out the round. A second found for Ascend. They're starting to scrap for them. But you know what? Back and forth just doesn't do it. Not here on Split. They have got, especially not being down by this much already. 5 rounds, that's enough for FPX. It's time to put their foot, really put their foot down and say, no more from this point forward. How do you do that though, Tom, against FPX on this map when they've got just about to have Rolling Thunder Showstopper to work with as well? They might even have the Nightmare out of Shao. And then hell, I don't even want to count out Angel's teleport. Who knows what the From the Shadows can get with this guy.
I am liking the way that the wall is being used a lot more proactively. As said, because of the sheer pace that's come out of FPX, there's been some trouble with just basically having the rotations available. So instead, they've left CNED to be a bit cheeky around mid. They've locked off one side with the wall, and then the one way's on the other. So there's no real fast path unless FPX want to take a pretty impeccable risk. I think the only thing I don't like about it is the fact that Vac has his res. Like, you're playing as the most aggressive player right now, and you have a piece of utility that can bring back a teammate. He has actually just hit.
You know, you see what I mean? This is why. You don't doubt this guy. The most mundane ultimate that never gets any value. You look at him and go, he's probably going to win the round off it, but maybe he won't win it. That's a quick play. Monster CNED, they get control of Spike, they eliminate Angel, and everything comes crumbling down for FPX. The round is Ascend's. What a recovery.
That, like, it is amazing that you can see these sort of brilliant plays from Angel, like using the Yora in the last map, like basically just completely bamboozling his opponent, and then the next one is something you saw in matchmaking in the beta. Like, it's just like, it still catches them because it's so ridiculous for anybody to actually stick that, especially in such an open spot. But that's Angel. He's not afraid to make the plays that I think other people would just assume are too risky. The thing is, though, incredible recovery. They managed to make things work without really taking too much damage, but there is still another purchase, and, well, you mentioned all those ultimates, Mitch. They're now online.
Oh, yes. They've got a ton to work with, but not really going to be using any of it. This spray is good for Artis. Takes out the Rolling Thunder late round, but I don't think there's any way to deny the plants here, really. What's going on? They're going to plant this. I guess they're not going to have the info for a moment. The cross is clear. Here comes a showstopper and very late. The wall blocks it. And now we end up reset with Ascend trying to fight their way in. Angel's being caught. That is huge.
Yeah, they basically used everything they had to just get into the afterplant in the first place. Shaldo, it's a crisp couple of shots. Now the swing back out, but Zeke does exactly the same. These rounds, again, just coming through with recovery from Ascend. And I don't mind the ideas out from FPX, but you use the Nightfall basically to guarantee the plant. Okay, fair enough. You have the information, but I think everybody managed to dodge it. So then you just have to basically fight with very, very little to actually play with and just hope that maybe the showstopper gets something along the way. Obviously, Rolling Thunder was lost so quickly because I think basically what happened is you have Zipan getting caught and nobody broke it. So then I think someone else tried to run through, and obviously the player's then just spamming, just trying to find something through the smoke, and he just gets owned.
I think that the monster play in general, though, he got 2 from there, right? Like later on, sprayed down Angel, if I'm not mistaken, same position.
Yeah, I think there was a gap
through the
in
smoke.
the smoke.
Yeah. He's had a good hold from that spot. Now, for Ascend, these runs don't necessarily need to be clean. You know, all they had to do was get to this point, where now they're 5-4, and FPX, they got pistols to play with. It's not going to be a strong buy. They've called the pause, shown that they need to think about this maybe, and what could have been an incredibly dominant half. Now, I mean, it can still be a very good half. You know, anything from this point forward is a bonus for FPX. There's still a real possibility that they end up on 7-5. So this team's not going to be disheartened at all. There's still a lot of work for Ascend to do to guarantee they close this one out. And with pistols as well, Tom, up against the Rolling Thunder, who knows, right? There's never a guaranteed round.
Yeah, I think going into the attack, I think Starzo is going to have a very big role to play if they're going to be able to get much success, because you're not really expecting CNED to be anywhere near as versatile as he was on the Jet. Nonetheless, they're going straight back in for another ace execution. After a failure in the previous round, they want to try and put the pressure on, but it's a completely different setup. This time, the trip catches him elsewhere, trades good, and now Starzo again. Just going straight through and managing to pick up a couple along the way. It leaves just to make that one remaining, while Angel stuck on the site alone with the spike. Oh my goodness, they're just flying at him, and in the end, Starzo puts him down.
Look at that Starzo one again, real quick, nice and slow. I'm pretty sure he just tapped into the smoke and headshot him, right? It was that was miles off in my estimation.
Down.
Let's see if we get it here. Oh, he did see him just about. I didn't think he saw him, and he just...
Even still, that headshot looked like it was at the ankles.
yeah, exactly.
Oh, God. Well, recovery. 4 rounds in a row for Ascend. This was looking like a damning half, to say the least. They now already sort of set up to get themselves into a position. Still, that Rolling Thunder is online. I don't feel like FPX have really found a way to utilize it just yet, but may end up trying to use it to take mid control. The thing is, I've been enjoying that initially Vac was using his walls just to delay the space. Now he started using them reactively. Like, we saw it block a showstopper early on, and I wondered, yeah, he's just going to use it because of the space that's been lost in mid.
Yeah, we saw this earlier on, right? The same play. We had Omen down below. This time Zeke's coming in from further down. They've got a good... Oh, that's actually a really good setup, because what's going to happen is Vac's going to take contact, spray them, fall down, then they'll swing to try to deal with him, and that's where both Vac and Zeke can take that fight. All the while, CNED's watching main. It's great if they come towards B. But FPX are still relatively undecided. Rolling Thunder, though, could definitely this manner in those works. Zeke's still good, though, from way back. This is the contingency, and there's the reward.
Oh, he's caught! He's trying to use his TP, and well, because of that, it's a free kill. CNED in such an unorthodox position, it can't be expected. But again, Ardis, he's been so good at just finding these traits. I get to alongside him, and well, CNED's still trying his best to get something done, but the info is going to be given up of exactly where he is.
Yeah, the element of surprise definitely gone. Both of these players spotted. No one needs to commit towards main. That's the huge benefit here. 3 eyes to watch 2 angles, and 1 player's inside of smoke, so they're doubled up watching heaven. And as they go to deal with Sagetsu, there should be a trade, but Angel's gone down as well. Now the round is under threat. Ardis tries to get the jump on them, but goes down as well. Tom, they've gotten back in and won the round. That is unbelievable.
Yeah, I think I agree. The fact that there wasn't a trade there for FPX is definitely unfortunate, but some lovely shots being hit by the players of ACEND, and I think this is just going to build up that momentum. I think that's the one thing that will really sell going into the attack side for them is, okay, we've now won 5 rounds in a row, 6 of the last 7. And well, FPX starting to fall a little bit flat after what was such an excellent start to this half.
Yeah, I mean, the recovery, I feel like we've said that about ACEND, about both of these teams really so many times. They get right back into this half, right back into that previous round. And now fight for the final. Rez online on back. Zipan's right the way through. That Spectre looking to be used up close, but he turns his back and Monster deletes him. Ardis down to a nade. This push is halted immediately. There's practically no chance for this one to go FPX's way. Wow. 7-5 half. Another unexpected turn of events.
He's even using those same sort of walls that we saw on the other side of just like, oh, I'm going to put this down just to bait you into a swing, bait you into a gap, and an easy finish. But yeah, I think Monster deserves a massive shout out. Like we saw a switch up in towards the A site quite regularly towards the end of that half. I don't think there was a single round where he either got 1 kill or more, or it was just that he was able to slow them down so much that there wasn't really anything to be done here. And I feel like Zipan, someone who started quite strong, ended up just every time just trying to work out where he is, whether it was because he put a trip down on a different spot on the site, whether he put it like just in the initial contact point, and that forever changing setup. Well, the funny thing about that last round, Zipan expected him not to be in the same place a Monster was, so he gets a kill for free. And that's just the little mind games you're going to have to play as a Sentinel. Now is where things get interesting, because it was said on the desk as well, this setup doesn't really look great for the attack. Like, you've got that solo flash available onto Zeke. Everything else is going to be reliant more so on either pushing and pulling your opponents or just individual brilliance, which when they attempted this last time, it really didn't work.
Yeah, it could definitely be tough to get into sites, and I think moving out of that first half, at least they've got the momentum in full swing in their favor, but that result is not what they wanted. That wanted to be a much more dominant defensive side. Maybe like if a pistol goes their way, it could have been different, but remember, the pistol was incredibly dominant. It's not like this came down to a hair's width or anything. This tech pause on the side of FPX, I think it's going to be resolved fairly soon. We'll be diving right back into it and see exactly what this defensive side holds. Again, I'm super excited to see some of the combos that we can have coming through. The value of holding Heaven and mid with the Sage is held in high esteem by a lot of teams, by the majority of teams. I mean, you've got a Heaven hold coming through here with Xiao and Zipan, and again, those combinations, the Fade and Raze, can be powerful. They can be round, if not game defining.
Yeah, Seize Paint Shell, one of the best combos in the game. I think another reason why Astra has really lost her value is because there's now another agent that can sort of hold people in place exactly the same way, and with the reduction in stars and also just the cooldowns, it's not really worth not having all of that extra utility elsewhere. Nonetheless, we are going to be getting into that second pistol round, an all-important one for either side. FPX with a chance to even things up going into the defense. You can see CNED really doesn't want to use any of those bullets if he doesn't have to.
Yep, he's using his cement shield. Oh, Angel, he was in trouble on his way up that rope. Back around, ACEND, and they'll be looking to blitz out onto this A site. Up close is Artis alone, frenzy in hand, and he is going to have to go huge with this. No shields even to work with. His team are on the way, but first fight is his, and he'll get nothing.
He's done some damage, at least onto a couple of players, and the heal was used moments ago. Xiao with a chance. Really tagged up over on the ACEND side, but they're still winning all of the battles. Zipan will eventually drop one. Starzo, though, again with a double and raising up above. Saigetsu, can he get anything done here? No, I think he's just, well, he should have been taken out quite quickly, but bullet's not connected from Zeke. It won't matter. Starzo, 3K, probably a lot more valuable in the long run anyway.
8-5. The lead now in ACEND's hands. A solid start to the pistol, or to the attack, excuse me. I think the pistol was owed to them almost after that first. Something they definitely needed. Now they get to play nice and comfy. I gotta say, the aggressive spot out of Artis with a frenzy, I can see the idea. I think, though, it's... unless it's a hero play, unless you're walking out of there with like 3 kills, that's pretty much the result you expected, was just him getting rolled by the multi-piece.
Again, there's going to be some investment here. 4 sheriffs, a shorty for Xiao. So it's not like this is a free round for ACEND. They've still got to be a little bit careful not to let this one slip away. Like, even losing a few players here could make things a lot tougher going into the next round. Angel, he's already going to spot the rendezvous back, and Artis actually going to fall back completely. Nice shot from CNED. The sort of openers you need, and in fact, there's going to be some counter utility, even the paranoia utilized. There's still 3 players within the site, though, Mitch.
Oh, that nade might clear some out, though. Well, they got killed just before it exploded, so it won't, but it was pretty pinpoint.
Okay, quick break.
So, am I correct in that they put a trap wire when you're coming out of vents on the left side?
Either that or it was just at the top of the rope.
Yeah, it looked like it was, I don't know. Maybe it was a visual glitch. I'll keep an eye on that in the next coming rounds.
Yeah, well, I think it was just the plan was to go B, just stop anybody from actually getting back up there. Here we go, though. This is where things should turn around for FPX, or almost need to. ACEND are getting to the point where they could easily close this out with much resistance. They've also invested into Starzo on a rifle. He's been popping off thus far. However, Saigetsu peeking off the contact is already going to find CNED.
Here they come, about to challenge Angel. The wall going up, blocking him out. They look to apply a little bit more pressure. I mean, they're all here. For ACEND, it's pretty much commitment. They're just looking for some favorable fights. So far, none are offered up. Starzo wants to inch forward. Zeke looks to follow. A lot of damage dealt there. He doesn't know that, though. And he'll be stopped out by the stun, by the spam, and, well, taken out by the same.
Yeah, monster sort of stuck between a multitude of different players. Does manage to hit the dink, but now it's left onto Vac. As I said, couple of low players. 2 kills here would be great. First one is for free. Already going to get caught out by the Prowler. Just goes for the jump peek while reloading. Actually takes down Angel as well. He's done his job, that's for sure. And that's before he's even met either of the low players.
Beautiful mechanical skill on display. Unfortunately, oh, the timing could not have been better.
No.
Oh, this physically couldn't be better, but he doesn't know about sight. Does he think? Oh, he expects it. Unfortunately, can't clear Artis. What a beautiful attempt out of Vac, and a glimpse into the star player that we hyped up back in the beginning of Valorant. One of the players who had certainly a whole lot of eyes on him. It's good to see him back up here at the top level. God, I'd love to give him a shot on a duelist someday, but on a team with these guys, it's a hard argument.
Yeah, you know, when you come into the champions winning team, I don't think they're going to be giving you the duelist anytime soon. But hey, like, the thing is, the one thing I've always liked about Vac is he cares more about the win than being the star. And I think that's why he's such a valuable asset to the squad. Moving over onto that stage, farming up a few ult orbs there, and also making things costly. And of course, Angel, well, not one to sit still. He's looking to get cheeky with the judge, already taking an awful lot of map control.
Well, Artis has caught an off angle and CNED's down. A little gap in the smoke, and that's what it gets you. And from here, Ascend, I'll recover that operator.
Was that whose smoke was that? Was that one placed by the defenders, or was so?
Yeah,
I feel like you almost have to expect that if you're on the Ascend side, and maybe it's just miscommunication that they didn't know that wasn't their smoke, but. Yeah, it's a weird place to have a smoke if you're if you're on the defense.
Yep, it's the sort of thing that just reeks of a trap play. Cam destroyed, Artis holding this, and he still is. What's the contact point? Here. There's no way he's just counting this head and gonna let it rip. Waiting for Sagetsu, right? But there we go. Okay, the trap gets destroyed, and here we go, swinging on out. Artis able to take Zeke. Other players trapped on site. Starzo's going to try to blitz in and help out Monster. Oh, what was that shot out of Sagetsu? Another follows up. The guy's just unstoppable. And Vac, well, 6 seconds on the clock and Spike down. Just going to see if he can hold on to this operator. That's going to be quite the challenge, though. There's a judge waiting on the other. Oh no.
Oh, no.
He's crossed. Oh, he's got him. He's wall banged him with a judge, Tom.
For a second, I thought he was going to keep the judge. For a second in my head, I was like, Angel, you're just going to keep the shotgun instead? But now he's got an operator. Now, this is someone, again, like, within their squad, I don't think, like, you're going to see Artis on it, but not when he's on a breach. So I assume Angel's just going to keep it for himself. And with how much space he was able to get in B main last round, I wouldn't be surprised if that's where we see the pressure put again.
I will be their nightmare.
Oh, interestingly, it's not him. So this is going to be a passive operator out of Angel. They're playing for the info early, putting the one-way down. Paranoia to come through as well, potentially. Yeah, okay, he wants to post on this angle. That's the only reason they're committing that much utility to it. And there you go, the one way with the operator. That's the plan to solo hold B. It's taken a little while to get it in place, but there's the reward. Vac goes down. Did Vac have res?
Well, I guess it doesn't matter. It was a round as well where I think there's some weaker weaponry in play, so I doubt he would have used it nonetheless. But yeah, just some more aggressive swings. You saw Artis taking the contact over into A, B also being pressured, and then it almost funneled them in towards Zipan. Flawless round out from the likes of FPX, really coming back in after what was a bit of a slower start to the second half, and they're now looking to level things up.
I've really enjoyed that B main control. You could just see from the start that when there's players outside of it, when that utility came through, they were a little bit disappointed. You can see them all stopping and go, okay, well, what do we need to do here? Like, oh, we'll put the paranoia even onto it. But it was worthwhile in the end to have that one man committing to the B hold and having so much info. And then obviously with it being an operator, good chance to find a kill when they do peak. And that's exactly what came down. Vac, who did have res, he's got it online now to work. Oh! Starzo's gotten the kill. Artis cancelled out by the showstopper. Zipan falls. Angel up close has an angle. And he's gone down as well. Well, everything has gone right for Ascend in this round.
Yeah, tried to counter out what was going to be the fast push off the back of the showstopper with the Rolling Thunder, and instead it means he just dies while using it anyway. And Starzo's just hitting everything. His raise is looking nasty. Like, we've seen it a little bit more when it comes to their bind play, but this switch coming in, I think, has definitely had its value. And, well, not the prettiest you're ever going to see from Sagetsu, especially after the 35 kills. Maybe just a little bit burnt out from the last map.
Yeah, I think, you know, he gave it his all over on that one, and he's still second from the top here, so certainly give him a little bit of wiggle room on that one. It's that from Starzo, the pace that you can get into heaven with on the Rays is just frankly ridiculous, and you see Artis get caught by it there. A good double blast pack, and that'll end your day. 10-8 we go. Ascend in the lead, hitting double digits, and they have a ton to work with here. Ultis, they've got the res, CNEDs on the operator, tour de force back pocket. This could be a strong round for the attack if they're given the opportunities. He's gone in. Starzo blitzing the site again. I mean, this guy, he does not know how to slow it down.
Yeah, and I think that's why, as said, they've made this switch. There is no fear for Starzo leading the way in terms of that entry duelist, and, well, just not having the fear alongside it either. They're going to find themselves the trip, but it almost seems like that's just bait to try and pull in those rotations. You can see already just utility being thrown in that direction, but knowing that the control is still there. The site switch as well, now having that Cypher set up in towards B, and the operator rebought, by the way, on Angel. It's going to be heading up the A defense.
Here's the haunt, a reveal for Zipman to follow through on, but he's not able to catch anybody with it. The sprays are good. But even better from Zipman. Good kill, one away from Showstopper. Oh, it was the C's, excuse me. I thought it was the haunt.
Yeah, they tried to trap them in place, but I guess not catching anyone. Well, it may not matter too much. Rez has been utilized. 25 seconds left on the clock for them to make their way in. Nice shot from Zipan. A third already in this round. Marshall looking for the trade, but actually back while falling, hits a headshot. He's the last man standing, spike in hand at least, but the time is the bigger issue. He's got to try and fake them into a peek. He's done just that. Shot not connected, but now he has to stick it. They know this as well. Stunning him, leaving him trapped in the corner. It has to be an instant headshot, and it won't.
Defuse and 9 rounds secured. You also have, walking out of that round, I believe Zipan has his Showstopper to work with. He needed 1 and then promptly found a triple. And that could be, again, a good safety net for them coming into these dangerous times. 4 ultimates to fall back on. 2 of those at least could be very game-changing. Again, Angel, I'll never count him out, even with the most useless of utility. The man could have a cage, and I think he'd get 4 kills with it.
He'd probably somehow find a way to lock you in it. 10-9. Ults built up as well for FPX. They're in a very, very good spot. Quarter force available for Cedar, but it seems like he's sat on the rifle this time. Already, though, a lot of pressure being put into mid. And actually, Ardis getting a little bit more aggressive over A. Of course, a lot of that was just to try and destroy any utility. Facing off again against his old teammate.
Careful.
But they are looking to build up to put the pressure on here. And actually, Ardis has no support. He's actually the only person also doesn't have his ultimate. So I think a lot of this is going to come down to the rotation of Shout. The thing is, though, oh, this could be perfect.
Okay, here we go. This time the stuns follow through on it. The Nightmare as well, but Starzo, the blast pack criminals on them again. Tagetsu only good for 1 with the trade. Monster gradually getting his health back. He's nice and healthy, nice and safe. And with Angel going down, a Showstopper committed for nothing. And Zipan diving to his death. 11 is found for Ascend, and they are now looking good to bring this across the line. So close to the finish mark. And their opponents have nothing, Tom. They put their ultimates into that round. They put their economy into it. And Ascend still walked out with the victory.
Yeah, it's been a solid showing from them. The entries have been great. As I said, like going into the second half, I think just based off the composition, you needed Starzo to play well. He has. Whether he's taking space, whether it's even just getting those entries, he's been fantastic. And a lot of that is played off a minute amount of utility. But the whole squad is just performing incredibly well. Monster right now is firmly in that position to sort of take the MVP of the day, because he has been fantastic, like from start to finish, basically just performing for this squad. And as one of the new pickups going into the VCT this season, that is a great sign for them heading into the playoff stage. Still though, FPX, it's not over till it's over. Still having the longest map in history of Valorant, or history of the VCT. I know there's someone who's going to be like, actually, in my local tournament, we played 7,000 rounds. I'm like, yeah, okay. In the VCT, from what I know.
This is a nice spot. All right.
And definitely within EMEA. So maybe they can make it a long one once again.
That goes there.
Maybe. We know this team has the fight in them. And with a low buy on a map like Split, nothing is defined. The combos still yet to be seen. Your zip and your shout. Seize the nade. They've done a fantastic job of avoiding a lot of this. And I think ACEND, they're really not a team that it's going to be easy to predict when they come into a lot of these plays. You're going to be changing it up round on rounds. It's not as simple as, oh, just pop it down on mid and it's going to be easy frags. Like, we're going to avoid that. Okay. Stun, paranoia, and the TP right out. Good cancellation of utility. Are they going to fight mid after? I think, yep. It's a crunch.
There we go. Back online with Starzo. Went on a little journey there. But even still, look at this rotation already. FPX's read is spot on, Mitch. They've got 4 players within the site. The only thing that could cause them issues is just this lurk that's currently coming through. And because of how deep they've actually gone, they might actually opt to try and make the move back, or at least they're trying to sell this as a fake. No, the rest of the players of FPX haven't moved. This is an audacious attempt of a round, especially when you have this many players on the site and also a weapon advantage.
Oh, they're all stunned up, and even with the Sheriff, it looks like it's enough. So many players from FPX. Hello. That's a fan watching for the flank. I mean, that just couldn't be better. CNAD's left walking into this, and I think just giving them an extra rifle. That's clean as can be. 10 rounds found for FPX. And like I said, Tom, even on an eco, there's no such thing as a, or even against an eco, no such thing as a free round, and we just saw that there.
I felt like ACEND overplayed it, though. Like, you're up against a weak buy. There's no ultimates online. All you really needed to do there was trade effectively. They burned the clock down, and I like in any other round, I like the idea of that fake. Like, throw in the TP to the other side of the map after CNED's already been spotted. The only problem is because you don't have the spike, if it's not heard, especially in a round where you only have pistols, you have to gamble. Either everybody rotates or everybody stays. And while they were unlucky in the fact that FPX went for the 50-50 where everybody stays.
Yeah, realistically, all they had to do was go win, and they didn't do that. So that was really where I thought the problem was. We'll see if they make that mistake this time around. And yeah, I don't think they will, Tom. ACEND have realized their mistake. They lost the round from losing. This tour de force could be huge. I think that lurking it out like this is all right. But if they, don't ever peak, I guess CNED's going to start to shift back and away. It does look like, though, smoke going down. They're thinking about it. He has a small gap that he can technically step through that on and still TP back. I don't know if he's going to risk it, though.
Heaven Control lost. You can see the rotation coming back in from Angel to at least try and reclaim a little bit of space, but I like this. They're not just sitting still. In fact, they're getting aggressive in towards B main. I don't know if this has been spotted by Zeke. He's waiting for it, but it doesn't matter. Still, the entry goes their way, and now this becomes a fairly difficult take. They have to fight forward, and that's exactly what they do. Both teams adapting on the fly, and Starzo's found another.
So Getsu's about to be pushed on. I like the idea from ACEND. I thought they were going for 3 players to crunch him and blitz from behind, but they weren't quite expecting him to go running it up. Zipman's just going into the spawn. This guy's crazy. They had to try to make a play with everything going on, get back into the round, but it did not pay off. And 12-10 we go, 2 rounds between them.
Look at this scoreboard.
Oh, wow.
17, back 18, back 19, back 20, back 21, back. This is the most back and forth game I think we've ever had. But for ACEND, they don't mind. They're in the lead. So eventually that means they're going to win it. The thing is, though, I have to say, both teams adapted wonderfully in that round. Like, you lose Heaven Control, you take back B main, you find Zeke, you kill off that player. Okay, we've lost B main, what do? We have to take control deep in towards their spawn. Fantastic adaptation from both sides. And ACEND, well, that on the fly call was superb.
Now we got a showstopper from Starzo this round. It's over towards the A site. CNED in a little bit of trouble, but he's got that TP to get right on out. So we reset. You want this showstopper to be finding its mark, making its way in towards mid right now. 4 players around this area. If Xiao peeks out, he could be in a lot of trouble in a world of hurt. There it is, and Monster's ready. Catching that one immediately.
Again, continuing what has been a reign of terror throughout this series. And now a lot of this is going to come down to what Saigetsu can do. And it seems like they've got the wrong read here. Everybody rotating away, and it seems like the call is going to be made to move things back. The one way almost trying to fake things out a little bit, but here is that showstopper. Unlikely to be anyone found, if anything, although Saigetsu, I don't know about that one. He might get caught for it. Yeah, he will. Just that extra shot that was taken. Starzo then decides to try and fight him, and he's been holding on to this position. Almost manages to win the battle versus Angel as well. Now that they've actually walled them off, Zipan, though, makes it even. Swing back through. Vax still here.
Oh, he's going into the smoke as well. The aggression out of Vac. Getting returns tenfold. Zipan on the side. He's cleared it out. But here's the peak to close. Zeke taking him down and putting 13 on the board for Ascend. They have done it. They've taken the series. And wow, I was starting to doubt them on split for a little bit, Tom, but the recovery has just been phenomenal all day long from this team.
Yeah, I think that, again, Starzo's value in the game can't be underestimated, especially on that attacking side. Monster's setup when it came to the defense was superb, and he's definitely been one of the best pickups we've seen this season. I think Ascend have come in with a new lease of life, looking a lot more confident in their own abilities, and even some of the mid-round calls, again. Like, I just like the fact that they are so fluid in the way that they actually play the game that they can switch up their strat just like that and go for something a little bit more audacious. Really well played. And I'll be honest, coming into today, Mitch, I didn't expect them to beat FPX. So well played to them.
Yeah, I think FPX, certainly when you look at the performance over the last couple of weeks, they have been the clear favorite. This was a surprise, but fantastically played throughout. And let's talk a little bit about some of those players who were playing. Let's talk about the player of the match, because we've got a couple of options for you guys at home. We've got Monster, Starzo, and Zeke. You can head on over to @ValleyEsports_EMEA and pick who you think should be the player of the match. That vote's going to be going on during the break, and when we come back, the analyst desk is going to be telling you who won at home, letting you know the results. For now, though, we're going to throw things off to that break and let you guys get on over to @ValleyEsports_EMEA to get your votes in. We'll see you real soon.
Hello, welcome back to VCT EMEA Challengers. We have had our first series. It is done and dusted. Ascend defeat FPX 2-1. I think that surprised a lot of people. My name's Ian Chambers on the desk with Lothar and Kakuka. They got the job done, Kakuka, but it was not easy.
No, not at all. And especially after they started off right off the bat, getting those 4 rounds on the attack, you know, I was kind of feeling that Ascend was going to do it again. They will get up to that 3rd map, got onto split, and that everything will be lost. But after those 4 rounds, something changes, and within Ascend, Zipan starts being useless on that attack, and they actually look like they know how to play against. I was saying this comes off a lot on what Zenit is going to do on the defense, but actually FPX knowing that Zenit was going to be on A, they were like, let's just actually hit B. You know, I think it's gonna work.
Yeah, it's actually kind of crazy when you think about it, because the defense ability on this map, on this composition from Ascend, I would say they had a higher chance of success on defense and attack, and yet they were actually seeing more comfortable on the attack side than the defense. And I feel like that was because Stark shows just lack of, I don't know, feeling fear. Like this guy is just fearless. Just doesn't matter what his position, he's actually just going in. But there's a stark contrast between his aggression and Zipan's aggression. Zipan's aggression, the satchels, the plays that he was doing were sometimes just reckless. You know, like they didn't give much value because they were not like being followed up by someone else's footsteps. You know, while STAGE2 is making the space for someone else. So even if he fails, there's someone picking up the pace after him, and it was such a visible difference between those teams here.
Yeah, completely. The movement across the map was something else coming in from ACEND, especially in the attack, as you're mentioning. And we see in an FPX that is actually pretty afraid of going for those extra duels, for the micros. We were talking about how strong those combos going to be, but they were actually kind of forced to play reactively up to what ACEND was putting on the table. ACEND has managed to secure that second seed, but you know, FPX is not out. They're still going to make playoffs.
Absolutely. I mean, it's not all heartbreak for FPX, but we were chatting in the green room, and I said to you, I love an underdog story.
and what did I say?
And you said to me, how are the underdogs the world champions?
Yeah, but it was kind of, you know, like the irony of it, like because it's true. Exactly, it's true. Like coming into this matchup, many people, especially because of how FPX has been performing, they've been like, yeah, of course they're going to take this matchup.
Absolutely, Lothar. Should we go to the
Telestrator? Oh yeah, you have time for that?
Legs. Take us over there.
I'll be happy. I'll be happy to do that. So essentially, first clip that I wanted to show is something very short, but I don't know how Cena does it. Like, just look at this clip. This is him in mid. This is pistol round. He has 6 bullets and a trap being bought and set up on the side, but now he's going into mid. He sees the boombot and he has absolutely no reaction to the boombot. He just hides behind the corner with full confidence, knowing that he's not gonna be dealt any damage. Remember that boombot got nerfed a little bit, so he doesn't deal 125 max damage now and is maximum 80, but still, to have this kind of game knowledge, where can you hide to not be affected by the explosion, is actually unreal. That this confidence, this is like a lot of reps that you had this situation before in this game. Now, another thing that I wanted to showcase is this clutch by CNET and Monster. This is something that I wanted to explain because it's all about also experience in those situations where here you see that they're both approaching from heaven. But what is important here is the way that they react to knowing where Suigetsu is. This is the moment that I wanted to show. So Suigetsu spots Monster because he's gonna go outside of heaven to spot him. And Suigetsu starts shooting at Monster, but Monster never repeats the angle and lets CNET just go from the other side of heaven, peek first, so he peeks second in case CNET doesn't get a kill. But when CNET gets the kill, then Monster actually, I'm gonna cancel this drawing here, I'm gonna zoom in on the minimap. What Monster will do is when CNET's gonna get the kill, Monster's actually holding the other angle that should play off the contact of the player of Hell. And this is what the game sense just shows. So the amount of game sense that a player needs in those situations, because they play on a deficit and they need to be aware that the other opponents are most likely playing on the contact of the player that is just a bait for the opponents. And here, they just counter it perfectly. That was a clutch that should have not happened.
I love the fact that you bring in fundamentals, good fundamentals on the game, and Lothar's going to be watching and he's going to be proud. He's going to be like, yeah, this is exactly what I needed.
The one problem is that I'm being excited about the basic fundamentals. I shouldn't be even pointing that out.
Well, I'm very excited to speak to ACEND's Zeke right now, who's going to join us on the screen behind me. Hello, Zeke. Welcome to the show. I mean, you must be feeling delighted because that is an absolute statement of a win for you guys. A lot of people have been saying that, Fnatic and FPX were the front runners in your group. Do you feel like that you proved some doubters wrong with that performance?
I mean, for sure. Everyone was predicting FPX just because they had insane performances, and we are playing really, really, not good, I'd say. Not our highest. I think we are not our peak yet, but we won today with saving strats, so easy.
How much did you think about that? We were talking about that on the desk, how much you were maybe playing your cards close to your chest. Is that something that was actively on your mind throughout that series?
I'm sorry, I didn't quite understood it.
Nobody understands my accent, don't worry about it. How much were you... Yes, maybe. How much were you hiding strats? You mentioned that there. How important was that for you?
I can't say how many strats we hide or something, but I think we just took it easy today. And whenever we play, we actually no stress. We don't give anything. Then like we played the best, and that's how we played today. Like I was actually super surprised how we played today, even though we were like not playing at our 100% for sure. Like I'd say like maybe 60% or something. And we also like tried very new things that we just tried like yesterday. We made yesterday or 2 days ago, and we tried them today. I think on Breeze we could end it in 2-0 if we just won pistols. I think that's our biggest weakness right now. We just cannot. We just can't close these pistol rounds. And if we start winning pistol rounds, I think nobody can match us, except maybe Fnatic, because they are like the best team in the whole universe and Galactic. So
you're going into the playoffs with some serious momentum. You must be feeling incredibly confident. Briefly, are you feeling good?
Of course. I mean, we'll have bootcamp, for the playoffs. And every time I go outside of my home, I play on LAN or I play on bootcamp. I always play insane. So even though I played quite good today, I think I'm not still on my level that I picked on, champions. And I think on every time I go outside of my home, I play so much better. It's going to happen, I think on playoffs, you're going to get a buff from bootcamp.
We're looking forward to seeing you at your peak if that wasn't you at your peak. So congratulations, guys. And I hope you go and celebrate all evening long. Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you.
Well, they've got a week to recover, right? If they do have a bit of celebrations tonight. Should we look ahead or should we talk about player of the match?
Player of the match.
We had 3 up for grabs. Who would you go with?
Monster, 100%.
Monster?
Yeah.
Should we find out? Let's find out who got player of the match. You guys were voting at home. And of course, it was indeed Monster. Huge pickup for this team.
Yeah, I think so. It's not only that, not today, just I think every single week we have something good to say about this 17-year-old who's been different on people. Talking about 17 years old, Alpha is turning 17 today. So happy birthday, Alpha. I'm sure that you were watching this matchup.
I'm 37, they are 17.
I didn't realize you actually actively spoke about your age.
I was going to say I'm 27. I don't even know my own age.